Keeler Show today.
It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen?
Keeler's always in the know.
It makes me want to call him
And tell him where to go.
And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Get a chance to head to our website, WIBX950.com. You can check out that FDU coach who was Tobin Anderson, who was the head coach at Hamilton for a while. Did you see any of that, Davey? There's a whole gallery with a whole bunch of pictures with his amazing facial expressions and gestures.
Yeah, but what year was he the coach from Hamilton from?
It would have been up until, I think, 2011.
2004 to 2011. He was
Yeah.
at Clarkson before he came to...
So he was an assistant. He started out. There's a whole gives his whole timeline in the story there, and he was an assistant at Clarkson, and then ended up going back to Clarkson as a head coach.
Yeah, and then he succeeded Tom Murphy when Tom Murphy retired, and he took over at Hamilton.
He also was an assistant at Lemoyne early on. So really pretty cool, and you can just his facial expressions. I swear to God, they tell every gesture and facial expression tells a story. Each one could be given its own title. Like you can look at it, and you're like, oh, he's definitely saying, "Why did you make that shot?" Or he's definitely saying, "Come on, ref, what was that? What are you doing?" I think it's a pretty cool gallery. You can check it out at WIBX950.com. And, all of that. Today being Tuesday, we'll get to where we're going here this morning. A whole bunch of stuff to get to here. We have Habaika's free money question of the day. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, a chance to win $100 plus more stuff. Today's the day that President Trump is supposed to be indicted. Will he be? He's made the prediction. They had a big protest that was called for last night, and it was a small protest. It was Jim Zecca and two guys from Stittville, I'm pretty sure, in Manhattan. I don't know if Jim Zecca went, but he should have because the crowd was very small. Now, maybe today it'll be bigger. But, in fact, the guys who came from Long Island, they were out protesting. There was maybe about a dozen, maybe a little fewer than that, so there weren't that many. And they told reporters, we specifically designed this protest to be small.
Oh, really?
That's what they said. I don't know why. Because the focus is on the fact that it's small. This is the back and forth between the protesters and reporters.
You know what would have been great is if they said that they wanted a smaller protest, and they said, why don't you get half of these guys out of here? They're all rhino Trumpers anyway.
Right. They're not even real.
Should arrest them.
Okay. Also, Amazon, they just have created a facility in the Syracuse area, this gigantic facility. There's an Amazon distribution center in Frankfurt, a smaller one, but there is one. And I'm not sure the distribution centers are affected by this, but Amazon announced yesterday they were cutting 9,000 jobs. Think about how successful that company has become. They're cutting 9,000 jobs, and you're still going to get your package in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Is this one of those situations, again, where they're cutting...
These are jobs that are more technical positions.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of they're more tech jobs. But it's 9,000 people being laid off.
And I hate to say this, but
and it's the second round, which brings it up to about 18,000 employees have been laid off from Amazon in the last year.
I fell into a rabbit hole this weekend, and this wasn't, of course, everything's political, but this wasn't along the political. It wasn't like Republicans just bashing Biden policy or something, but it was kind of talking about the economic, circumstances, if you will. And it was, focusing on the part about, there was two ends of it. One was that coming off the pandemic, all the assistance, that's dried up, right? So there was a lot of free money for everybody, really, workers, businesses, et cetera. The other part of it was the financial situation that we're in with interest rates going up, where people are paying more for their mortgages or their whatever particular payment they might have. It was essentially that money was harder to come by today than it was, 8 months ago, 6 months ago. So
yeah, although I got to say, you still see people dropping cash. But some of these tech positions, these tech layoffs are coming because they can't get the materials, the pieces, the equipment, the components they need to build what they're trying to build. Although that seems to be somewhat improving. Still, though, if you want to try to get a cold medicine for your kid that's specifically prescribed by your doctor, you may not be able to find it at your local pharmacy. Or if you're on ADHD medicine, you might not be able to find it at your local pharmacy. The things that end up being scarce and hard to find, I find it's really, really interesting. Like, really, why is there and it turns out that a company that manufactured Adderall, one of the two major companies, has gone out of business, and that's what's caused the shortage.
One of the pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah.
Holy cow! That shocks me.
Some of the foods that you'll end up paying more for. There are specific, like I was at the grocery store yesterday, and the woman who was checking out in front was like, I can't believe this has cost me this much money. I think her bill was like $200 or something. But I have to say, she didn't have that much. I mean, it's surprising. Butter is one of the products. It's gone up by over 31%. Margarine, I didn't know people really consume margarine anymore, but I guess they do. 44%. Milk has seen a decline in global production in the last 12 months, which is why milk, butter, and other dairy products have gone up. There are other products that have gone up even more, and some that you have a hard time finding. So wasn't butter about 6 months ago, or maybe it was last year, that which I guess that would be last year, that there was a shortage of butter. Or then the year before, it was a shortage of cream cheese. Sometimes I think they create these shortages, so all of a sudden people go out and hoard them.
Oh, I completely agree.
It's natural for people to say, well, I was going to get 1 container of cream cheese. Now I'll get 8.
I hate to say this, but because I'm not the pro-conspiracy camp on this, but it's like one disaster after another. Once we find or manufacture more butter, it's the next thing. Oh, you know what? You know what else now you're paying $8 a unit for?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Meat across the board has gone up in price, hitting a whopping 16% increase at one point for things like beef, bacon, and sausage. Chicken and pork products have also increased significantly. Those prices have relaxed a little since they spiked, except for chicken, which is still up there. More recently, the cost of eggs has shot upward drastically, really in the last 4 or 5 months.
Are they still up there?
A nearly 60% increase in price, although I find it interesting where you hear how much people are paying for eggs, and then you go to the store and you find them for a somewhat decent price.
Yeah, we talked about this during Thanksgiving, too, right? Wasn't it like turkey was never so high, and you went
Hannaford had a huge deal on turkey, and it was inexpensive. So I don't get it. Anyway, other things will cost you, and at the end of the day, when you finally check out, it's definitely an increase. You're paying a lot more.
Mark says, I'm a single guy, and I paid $72 at the grocery store the other day. He said, I paid $72 for nothing. It's just
Yeah.
funny to hear that he didn't have anything, but he had to pay $72. But no, that's how you feel. You're like, all I got was this and this, and how much?
Yeah, yeah. We have been a community here that has been unbelievably tolerant. For instance, in downtown Utica, you have the mosque, and since 9/11, I think that we've taken a great deal of pride in the fact that they have been able to. There was no. We haven't experienced the racism. We haven't experienced the. I think this was a great melting pot. This community has been, unlike other parts around the country. However, just recently, a Utica man has been tased by police and arrested after they say he attempted to attack the staff at the Utica Mosque with a knife. Han San, 36-year-old, had a knife and was threatening to attack staff of the Nabu Mayanman Muslim Community Mosque on Friday at the 600 block of Rutgers Street. According to Lieutenant Mike Curley, he said that staff members managed to lock the doors and keep him out. When officers arrived, Sand started to threaten them instead. One of the officers drew his taser and told Sand to drop the knife, but he didn't listen. You know what comes next. Yeah, the sound. The officer put more distance between him and Sand and then drew his gun. More officers arrived, and one sergeant drew his taser. Another drew their less-than-lethal shotgun. Sand continued to ignore commands to drop the knife, so one sergeant fired multiple beanbag rounds at him to stun him. It's amazing how well our local police departments do when it comes to something like this. There are parts of the country where you've got a knife and you don't follow the command, and you're dead, right?
Yeah.
Our police force, in plural, I think they do a great job to try to avoid that. Ultimately, Sand finally dropped the knife. Officers were able to arrest him. He was charged with 3 counts of menacing a police officer and third-degree criminal possession of a weapon. This may have been personal. I don't know. I don't know what it was about, but it may have been something personal.
Also, the fact that they went to such lengths to not use lethal force there.
Wait a minute. The man had just been to the grocery. Wayne says the man had just been to the grocery store and he bought margarine. I think he was frustrated. I'm sorry. What was that?
The fact that they go through such non-lethal efforts. Of course, what was it? I don't know how long ago it was now, but less than a year ago, obviously.
I know. Yep.
They shot and killed somebody who was approaching police with a knife after.
Well, it comes to a certain point where you can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
Wayne does say people use margarine to bake or cook with because butter burns at a higher heat and will burn. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have I've had to start all over again because the butter burned? You burned the butter, Bill. Yeah.
You burned it, Bill.
You burned me, Bill. You burned the butter, Bill.
There we go.
Let's see. What else? This was sent to me yesterday. Mr. Malachi, thank you. New York's, apparently there is a new law. New York stores and restaurants struggling after the pandemic have a new headache besides inflation and crime. State's court aggressive reinterpretation of a more than century-old law puts businesses on the hook for potentially billions of dollars in unexpected costs, according to the New York the New York Post. If you have a job, you probably get paid every 2 weeks. The most common schedule.
Oh, I heard about
this. This is unbelievable. So there was apparently during probably, I don't know, 100 years ago, a law was passed. Because what would happen is workers in New York City especially would end up getting paid, and they didn't have a regular pay schedule. So it wasn't like every 2 weeks necessarily. It may have been like, all right, I'll pay you at the end of the month. You keep working. And, this goes back to the sweatshops and that sort of thing. Before all of these labor laws put all of the power into the hands of the employee unless you work in radio. So in this case, the law states that workers in a certain field, and that includes construction, certain businesses, manual workers. And I believe the law states that a manual worker shall be paid weekly. So you can't be paid biweekly. And again, this was put in place because what would happen is they would say, we'll pay you at the end of the month. And then the company would fold or just not. The minute they were done making what they were making, they just wouldn't pay the employees. So a law was passed to benefit the employees. And that was employees in New York must be paid, a manual worker must be paid weekly. The weekly pay provision dates actually back to 1890 when the legislature held that every manufacturing, mining, quarrying, lumbering, mercantile corporation shall pay weekly. Now,
radio's not in there again. No.
Right. The purpose, as discussion around a 1935 amendment made it clear, was to protect the employees of firms and individuals who would set up a business, defer the payments of wages, and then disappear. That's what it was all about. So now you got to fast forward to 2018. A construction worker named Irma Vega won a judgment against the New York firm CM and Associates. A Bronx civil court found that CM, in paying her every other week, had actually violated the law. In 2019, an appeals court upheld the ruling. But the novel aspect of the Vega ruling was that New York courts reinterpreted the consequences of not following the law in an entirely new way. The court found that Vega could recoup as damages a dollar value, listen to this, equal to 100% of the wages that are paid late. So that would mean that at least in 1 month, a week's pay would that's just shocking, right?
I'm all for it.
CM would have to pay an extra week's pay for all of its every other week paychecks, as by paying every other week, it had been late with 1 out of every 2 weeks' pay.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so you wouldn't be, gotcha. It wouldn't be 100%. It'd basically be 50% of your salary.
Correct. So one of the weeks would be late. The other one wouldn't be late because you only worked a week on the second week.
Look,
basically in a month, you would be 2 weeks' pay. You would get 2 weeks' pay. In addition, for as long as they were paying you every 2 weeks.
Look, so anybody who's I do fall into the camp where it's not like they're paying you once a month. It is, twice a month or every other month or every other week.
Well, there are different ways to do it. You could some will do it bi-weekly, by month, others will do the 1st and the 30th or 1st and 15th, right?
Or 15th and 30th, I think is what we are. So anybody who doesn't have a pay schedule like this, let me just give you an example of what this can be like. And again, I'm not complaining. I'm just underscoring what it can be like for some people, right? Your paycheck, instead of getting, like, if it's every 2 weeks, you get 26 a year. If it's twice a month, you only get 24 a year. So obviously the paycheck is adjusted to account for those 2 checks that you'd miss. Or, right, if you get paid every week, then you get paid 52 weeks a year. But this happened in January. This usually will happen once or twice a year.
But you'll still get 26 paychecks a year.
Here?
Yeah.
No, we get 24.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we get paid twice a month. 12 months, 24.
Okay. All right. Right, I see. Right, as opposed to 52 weeks. Yeah. All right.
And here's a perfect example where you lose those days. Again, you are compensated for, but this happened in January. So it's the 15th and the 30th, but if it's a weekend, it kicks back to that previous Friday.
Sometimes.
So the 15th in January was a Sunday, so we got paid Friday the 13th, and then the next check, it's the last day of the month is the way it works out, was the 31st of January, which was a Tuesday. I mean, that is 18 days. 18 days between paychecks.
Right.
For a lot of people, and I can't do that.
You have to, though. You kind of have to budget your, like teachers can select where they're paid biweekly, bi-monthly, whatever that works out. So twice a month, or you could take your one lump sum for the summer. In June, you get the one lump sum, or you can hold it back, or you could be paid during the year, I guess is how it's done. But when you're paid that one lump sum at the end of June, you have to budget that through the summer. You're still getting the same amount of money, and actually you might make out, I don't know if the taxes end up changing on that, but either way, you got to budget your money. Now, what you're talking about, though, is a completely different thing than what this is.
Well, no, because...
No, it's completely different. This was because they weren't getting paid.
Okay.
That's why the law existed. They weren't getting paid.
But even still, if they're paying you to this day and this law is applied, you're getting paid every 2 weeks. They're just saying the second week has to be double. They're not saying they're not getting paid.
But the point is, they're taking the old law.
Mm-hmm.
There's basically she's found a loophole. She found a loophole in the law, saying, "Wait a minute, you have to pay me," and the court just basically agreed with it.
So I'm sitting here talking about the plight of the newsman, and you want to interrupt me and tell me how bad teachers got it.
I'm only telling. No, it has nothing to do with teachers.
Well, you said that you can do the summer payment, you can take a payment or not take a payment.
No. What I said is you got to learn how to budget your money. That's what teachers have to do. They have to do it all summer, not for 2 weeks. That's what I'm saying. You got to budget it. So you're getting the same amount of money. So take half your check, put it in the bank, and don't touch it. That's the key to it. And then you'd be like, all right, it's Friday. It's next week. I'm getting paid again.
96% of your check goes to the bills that you have.
That is an issue.
You run out of money after 18 days.
I do understand that. And before you know it, you're Grubhubbing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why we're in this situation.
Has nothing to do with teachers.
But
I
don't
was just
know.
using it as an example. The point here, though, is this is an old law that the woman took advantage of, and the courts didn't see it that way. And the courts are like, well, yes, in manufacturing, it's the law, so this is what you're going to have to do. Now, as punishment, these corporations are going to have to pay. They would put corporations out of business. They would put contractors out of business. What are they thinking? That's the craziness of this. It is just, if you work physical labor, according to this court, you can sue and you can get 2 extra paychecks a month. I mean, come on. Who's running this court? What judge would be like, yep, this seems to make sense?
Probably a Biden appointee.
It must be. It must be. Last night, the Utica Common Council approved the mayor's budget. That all got approved. We'll talk with some council people about that. Or maybe Stefan Rubitsky, who keeps telling me, Bill, last night they approved the budget in Utica. Thank you, Stefan. A reporter on the scene. Here's an interesting story about some say might actually have a shot at a president of the United States. We've heard about, you remember, he was a former FBI agent, former Representative Mike Rogers of Michigan. Remember him?
I don't.
He says that he believes if he decides to run, he believes that he would have the right ideas and would have enough support in the country to get more votes than Trump and DeSantis. Look him up, Mike Rogers. I remember him often. He would oftentimes show up on the Sunday morning programs. President Trump overnight, in a late night video, addressed the Stormy Daniels issue in a late night video. And, of course, the former president asking for people to come out and protest, believes that this is a terrible misjustice, the fact that they're drumming up all of this. I thought DeSantis, who did come out yesterday in support of Donald Trump, I thought he threw in a zinger. I mean, I didn't think he did. He definitely threw in a zinger. While he said the DA's office has been weaponized in New York and this is a travesty. And then a reporter asked another question, and he said, listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't know anything about paying hush money for porn stars, and that's not my thing. I don't know. You're going to have to ask somebody else about that. Mm-hmm. I know nothing about that. Tell me that wasn't a swipe.
Yeah, absolutely.
At Trump.
Absolutely.
And the former president was out overnight with a little bit of testimony of his own on how people should react to this. Let's see if I can get it to play here this morning. This is from his campaign.
Horrible, radical left Democrat investigations of your all-time favorite president, me, is just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history of our country. It's gone on forever with Russia, and Ukraine, and the Mueller hoax. It's an absolute disgrace what's going on. They even spied on my campaign. And remember this, with all of the work that they did on Mueller, no collusion. That's what the answer was. was all no collusion. Whether it's the Mar-a-Lago raid or the Unselect Committee hoax, the perfect Georgia phone call, it was absolutely perfect, or the Stormy Horseface Daniels extortion plot. They're all sick, and it's fake news. Our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know that we are the only ones who can stop them, and they know it very strongly. And they're looking at the polls where, not me, but we are up by so much. They can't even believe it. We won twice, and now we've got to win a third time. They know that we can defeat them. They know that we will defeat them. But they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I'm just standing in their way, and I always will stand in their way. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that has so much in it that, first of all, the Stormy Daniels thing, is there anybody that really believes Trump didn't have an affair with Stormy Daniels and that money was paid to keep her quiet? And by the way, it wasn't that much money. It's shocking that she stayed quiet for so little amount. But I don't think there's most Americans believe that's the case. Now, where I believe, but where you are is, there are many Americans who believe, well, that's terrible. He should be prosecuted for it. There are also many Americans who believe, what's the big deal? It's old. Let it go. Move on. As Tucker Carlson said last night, this happens all the time with celebrities and that sort of thing. I'm not sure that's necessarily true. Now, this is a little trickier because was campaign money used, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot to this. But again, I don't think it's a matter of do we believe it happened. I think it's a matter of, are we like, enough is enough, it happened, whatever, move on. Because I think there's an element of population that believes that. I'm sure there are people that don't believe it really happened.
Boy, interesting. I'd love to talk to those people. Because I have a great deal on a bridge. Andrew's drawing up an agreement.
My point, though, is right. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, come on. The thing, it happened. Is it any big surprise? And listen, people knew the thing on the bus. That all occurred before Election Day. And voters still elected him president. So I think that people are understanding of a lot of what's been done. They realize. Oftentimes you hear from people. I don't know if you realize this, but I'm defending people who vote for Trump. You'll hear, I wish he'd stop. I wish he'd shut up. I wish he would be less contentious. But I loved his policies. I loved the economy, where we were when he was president. And that's how a lot of people take it. That's how they perceive what's going on right now in New York City.
Yeah, so our mics were off while you were playing that audio. Is that right?
They were kind of on.
Okay, I was just going to say, if you didn't hear it, I haven't laughed that hard.
I had to pull it down just a little bit.
I haven't laughed that hard since Jimmy Fallon left town. I mean, there were a lot of classic zingers in there, and I'll tell you.
Stormy, the horse-faced Daniels.
So,
wow.
I think you could make a case that, like, of our listening audience, 85% of them agree with that, or most of them agree with 85% of what he said. The other thing is, though, can we finally move past this guy? Is there any chance for the health of the country?
Well, you can't for a couple of reasons. Number one, there are other cases that are going on, and the case in Georgia, for instance, interfering the case of January 6th, there are two probably much more important cases. And so the answer to that's going to be they're not going to. And then, but you can't move on because he right now in the polls is leading the Republican group of candidates for 2024. He's leading DeSantis in all the polls.
Yeah, I beg of you, is there anything that we can do to get somebody else to be the candidate, please? And by the way, if you went back to leading up to Trump's presidency, the 4 years of Trump's presidency, Democrats would have wanted nothing more to watch Trump marched off in handcuffs. Would have made their day. Conversely, Republicans did not want to see that. If you're a Trumpster, you want nothing more than today to see him walking around in handcuffs, because I can almost guarantee he will be the president again if that video goes viral. If he's out there in handcuffs and he's looking like this political victim, people who had given up on Trump or were 50-50 on Trump will jump right back on that train and be all about supporting him again, I think. Right? If he looks like a victim in this.
I have to say that I'm not quite sure about that, because there are still a number of Republicans who, or maybe they're testing the waters to see what the general public thinks. Maybe you're right. But there are a number of Republicans who've been critical of Trump. For instance, what's his name from New Jersey, former governor?
Oh, Christie.
Chris Christie, what really over the weekend slammed Trump on and basically said, I'm sorry, being the only president of the United States to ever be indicted and taken out in handcuffs and fingerprinted, I'm sorry, is not a good look. He is not going to come out of this better than had he not been indicted. I mean, that's Chris Christie's take on it, former federal prosecutor. So what does it all mean? I don't think anybody knows, right? How many times have people called for Trump's demise? In the end, this is the end. They've got him now. He's all done, and he just survives. So I don't know the answer necessarily.
Horseface Stormy Daniels was the line he had in there. What do you think he calls Chris Christie behind the scenes?
Well, he'll be in his crosshairs. There's no doubt about it. A neighborhood in Los Angeles is trying to figure out why they're being flooded with Uber Eats deliveries that are now piling up.
Where's this, Los Angeles?
Yeah.
These might have been the people who stole my credit card.
Some neighbors have been getting up to a dozen food orders a day. Here are people from the city's Highland Park neighborhood talking about the food being delivered to their homes, and they don't know why it's happening.
Sometimes it would just be like 4 orders of milk from McDonald's. I've probably received 30 meals.
We probably got about 40 bags of food.
Every neighbor has a different idea of what this is. Well, we thought it was credit card fraud. A marketing campaign, rich kids on TikTok who are trying to have some commentary on millennials. I am a vegetarian, and they've been sending a lot of meat. Most of us are vegetarian here, so we couldn't really eat them.
I had a thing. You had your credit card exposed. My credit card, I thought was exposed. There was a $150 charge to Amazon that I clearly didn't make it. I went back into the Amazon account. I couldn't find it. And luckily we caught it. We stopped the charge. Last night I got a call from my daughter, who's also on our Amazon account. She has her own card. And she said, I got charged $150 from Amazon. I said, I almost did too, but I canceled it. I stopped it. She said, but it looks like they charged me. I said, well, what does it say on the charge? And she said, annual membership. I'm like, oh, it was legitimate. My card wasn't stolen. And thanks for paying, hon, for the membership this year. It's very nice of you.
I'll get you at the airport next time you come home.
We'll get you. Can you believe it's $150 for an Amazon membership now?
So didn't it used to be? What was their deal?
Mine might be a business. It's probably a business. Which is why but so you get with that, you get free shipping.
Yeah.
And you get all the movies. Yeah. I don't listen to the music that they have on there. That's kind of what you get for your membership.
Yeah, and your shipping is like, I just ordered something from Amazon the other day, and it was probably 8 or 9 days before I got it. Yours is like you order it at 9 p.m. and you get it by noon the next day.
Well, that is gone since the pandemic, but you can get stuff fairly quickly now, and it is delayed. It's not like it used to be.
So
even next day, you used to be able to get stuff like I could order 6 o'clock at night. And I'd have it at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Shocking. As long as it was in their warehouse, you would get it the next morning. Now, that has changed.
You don't get it till after lunch now?
It usually is a couple of days. And sometimes it's going to be here on such and such a day, and it's not.
Oh, okay.
There's been a little of that, too. All right. But for the most part, you're getting it much quicker than what everybody else is getting.
What was the Amazon Prime Day special they always used to do? You could become whatever the great member is, the Prime member for... It was only $100 or something, right?
It might have been even less than that.
I thought it was. I thought it was only like $25 at one point. This
might be a business membership. I think that I use it for my company. So
gotcha.
Listen, I wrestled in high school. I was never all that good, but I wrestled. I did win. I did lose, but I wrestled in high school. It's an interesting breed of people. Those who wrestle. If you've ever wrestled, you understand it. It's a different breed. Did you wrestle, Davey? You look like someone that could have wrestled.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Did you have to suck weight?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you do?
How'd you do it? Very good.
Yeah, not good.
They used to call me Charlie Tuna.
Charlie Tuna. Yeah, because all you eat is tuna.
No, because I used to lay on my back all the time. That's how they used to pin me.
Yeah, okay. Right, you usually are on your back when you're pinned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they ever say to you, how many lights are up there, Davey? Counting the lights. Counting the lights again. Anyway, one thing you do know is, Davey, I can imagine your mom, who is the most amazing cook. Your mom had to be an intense mom in wrestling because mothers, especially parents, are into it. Like when you're trying to put a move on and you think the mothers and fathers and coaches, they'll be out there trying to, their arms they're all disfigured and they're trying to show you where to put your arm. Wrestling people are not pretty. I'm just going to say it. They're kind of ugly looking when they're trying to coach, and mothers are the same way. They become very intense. My mother once knocked somebody right off the bleachers.
Really?
Knocked him right off the bleachers because she got all excited.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't like on purpose. Boom, you're gone, buddy.
Yeah.
It was more like she hit him and knocked him right off the bleachers. Or maybe it was a baby. I don't know. Anyway... There was a major upset in college wrestling last Friday when Purdue's Matt Ramos beat Iowa's Spencer Lee in the NCAA semifinal. Spencer was a 3-time national champion, and no one took it worse, as you might expect, than Spencer's mom, Kathy, who was so upset, and there's video of this, she took off her glasses, twisted them into bits and pieces.
Oh, boy.
Here's the call at the end of the match, followed by the announcers describing what she was doing to her glasses.
The unthinkable Tulsa, and the king has been knocked off the throne. Ramos knocks off Lee to go to the finals.
Holy cow. Matt Ramos of Purdue has knocked off one of the greatest college wrestlers of all time.
Spencer Lee's mom, Kathy, an alternate for the U.S. Olympic judo team, and her glasses did not survive that match.
Oh, that's unfortunate to see.
Yeah, she just twisted them all up and just, he was not expected to lose. This was a major upset.
That's funny. You know, you're right, though. The wrestling parent or the wrestling family might be a bit different than the average sports family. I mean, do you remember we had that story a few years ago where the guy's son got slammed on the mat and he got slammed on his neck?
Yeah.
The dad ran out there and tackled, and I was with the dad. I mean, I hate to admit that, but I was.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Well, listen, it's this stuff absolutely can happen. An animal from Mississippi surprised his family by an airman. From Mississippi surprised his family by returning home without anyone knowing after months of deployment. You see these videos; they're kind of awesome to watch.
They are. They're
especially when the kids see their dad for the first time or their mom.
Yes.
Here is the moment that Jared Brister walked through the door, and here is his joyful family reaction. Here we go. Now, he immediately left. He's like, I am out of here. What was I coming home to?
Wow, that was fun. I got to go. Sorry, guys. I got to
go. Happy birthday this morning to Wayne, who's celebrating a birthday today. Wayne, happy birthday.
Good morning, man. Happy birthday.
Luke on line number 3. Good morning, Luke. You're on the radio.
Good morning, Bill. How are you doing?
Oh, this is Luke Radel. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I just wanted to call in and remind everybody that today is World Down Syndrome Day. My brother Mark is a person with Down syndrome, and so we're celebrating him and all of our other fantastic friends and family with Down syndrome on today, March 21st.
What is the name of the day?
World Down Syndrome Day.
World Down Syndrome Day. Okay, I got it.
Yes, 3-2-1, because there's 3 copies of the 21st chromosome, and that's why we get that's how we get Down syndrome. And we are encouraged to wear mismatched or bright-colored crazy socks today, because it's supposed to remind everybody how unique our friends and family with Down syndrome are, and how we're all a little bit more alike than different.
Well, that's awesome. And we had a chance to meet your brother when we came out to Syracuse there. So, all right. Well, that's a very nice thing to do there, Luke. And people should. It's easy for me. I'm mismatched every day, so I celebrate every day, Luke. Just for the record. Yeah. But a World Down Syndrome Day. Keep in mind today. All right, Luke. Thank you for the update.
Nice job.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
And happy World Down Syndrome Day.
Luke Radel, who is out at Newhouse going to Syracuse University. Got a break. News is straight ahead.
Hi, I'm Joe Carbone. Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Get a jump on your riding season with over 120 Harley-Davidson motorcycles to choose from. Harley-Davidson Motor Company 120th anniversary celebration is March 25th. Stop in for food, beverages, music, and lots of Harley-Davidson giveaways. Register to win a 2023 Breakout and a free trip to Milwaukee for the anniversary blowout. So come to Harley-Davidson of Utica March 25th for our great event.
You have cancer. 3 words you wish you could unhear. But just because a cancer diagnosis may be a shock to your system doesn't mean cancer surgery has to be. Now, there's Edge Radiosurgery. It breaks down tumors in less than an hour per treatment. No knife, no hospital stay. Faster treatments, lower risk. Edge Radiosurgery, now at AMP of New York. Learn more at ampofny.com/edge. You may experience side effects which may be severe. Ask your doctor. Edge Radiosurgery, Associated Medical Professionals of New York is right for you.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Not expected to be arrested today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump had predicted that, but the grand jury investigating him in New York City has another witness tomorrow. He again calls it all a witch hunt.
It's gone on forever with Russia, and Ukraine, and the Mueller hoax. It's an absolute disgrace what's going on.
It's a potential campaign finance violation being investigated over hush money. Ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen paid to porn star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election to keep her quiet about her claims she had sex with Trump in the past. Yesterday, former Cohen advisor Robert Costello testified before the grand jury. He calls Cohen a liar on a revenge tour after going to jail.
I've listened to Michael Cohen stand in front of the courthouse and say things that are directly contrary to what he said to us.
I spoke to Cohen last night, and he tells me, quote, if Bob Costello's comments were any more fantastical, he would be a best-selling fiction author. It is important to note, I stated years ago that the payment was done at the direction of, in coordination with, and for the benefit of Donald.
That's Fox's Brooks Singman. Japan's prime minister is taking a trip to Ukraine for talks as China's leader remains in Moscow for a second day of discussions with Russian leader Vladimir Putin.
With the world watching for hints that China might provide weapons, Putin said Russia respects China's 12-point plan to end the war.
We have carefully studied your proposals and settling the acute crisis in Ukraine.
Ukrainian leaders say negotiations are a non-starter unless Russia makes a complete withdrawal from Ukraine, including Crimea.
Fox's Mike Tobin. Kids have the day off in Los Angeles. Public schools closed. Thousands of staffers are starting a 3-day strike,
demanding a 30% pay hike, plus an additional $2 an hour in, quote, equity adjustments. The bus drivers, custodians, cafeteria workers, and other staffers also want more full-time work, equitable health care, and increased staffing levels.
That's Todd Pyro. America's listening to Fox News.
If I could be you.
And you could be me? For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Looking forward to another nice sunny day coming up this afternoon. Right now, we have cloudy skies and 31 degrees. It will be partly sunny this afternoon. And Bill, have you seen these forecasts? The high temps
I know
we're
going to be over 60 degrees coming up. I mean, it's saying like 58, I think, but I like to think on the positive side.
Bill likes to round up.
I round up
unless he's paying the bill.
I round up and over. That's my problem.
We'll get a closer look at your forecast from Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint coming up in just a few minutes. Utica police charging a woman with attempted arson for allegedly trying to start a fire inside the Kennedy Plaza apartments. Police were called to the complex just after 3 a.m. Monday morning after a call from a tenant from the building. A man living in one of the apartments said while inside his unit, he noticed his hallway floor mat was on fire and someone was trying to push the lit mat under his door. The victim ran to the door to try to put out the fire and saw a woman standing there on the other side who he was familiar with. She was later identified as 47-year-old Doretha Roll. She has now been charged with attempted arson. 2 suspects were running from authorities in a stolen Jeep when they crashed into a school bus with several children inside. This happened in the Rochester area. 2 suspects stole a red Jeep at knife point from a 51-year-old woman, allegedly. When they were fleeing, they were spotted by police who apprehended the vehicle. During the traffic stop, when police told the 2 males to exit, the driver backed up into the police car and sped off. Witnesses telling Fox 5 in Rochester that the vehicle drove the wrong way down the street, ultimately crashing into a school bus carrying 17 kids. The 2 suspects then exited the Jeep and attempted to flee the scene. A video shot by a witness shows police chasing the 2 men and yelling at them to get on the ground. Fortunately, none of the children on the bus were injured. More on that story at WIBX950.com. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer unveiling a plan to get an extremely dangerous drug off the streets. The drug is called xylazine, and it's been linked to overdose deaths across upstate New York. In Schenectady yesterday, Schumer said that he's calling on the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to speed up its efforts to track down the sources of xylazine. He's also pushing for over $530 million in funding to boost the community-oriented policing services hiring program to help stop drug trafficking. People who are struggling with addiction can get help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by calling 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. In Syracuse, all lanes on the Onondaga Lake Parkway are back open for this morning's commute after a tractor-trailer struck a bridge over the highway. Westbound traffic on the parkway was closed for a few hours yesterday after the truck hit the CSX span, causing debris to end up on the road and railroad tracks. The driver of that truck, 64-year-old Lincoln DeLoach, was issued 2 traffic tickets. It was the 30th time since 2020 that bridge has been struck by a vehicle. And a check on local gas prices. According to AAA, local gas prices virtually unchanged over the past week here in the Utica-Rome market. The average price per gallon for regular fuel today is $3.46 a gallon. That's unchanged from yesterday and unchanged from a week ago. We're down about 4 cents from a month ago. In case you're wondering, our neighbors in Syracuse paying a nickel less at an average of $3.41 a gallon. Statewide, the average is actually right in between at $3.43. WIBX News Time 7:06. We have mostly cloudy skies right now, 31 degrees. And your forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint. Bill, you said the temps this week looking to be...
We're going to be up. We're going to look at temperatures going up into the 50s for the next couple of days, and then it'll cool back off for the weekend. And in the foreseeable future, we're looking at temperatures in the 40s. But we have made a move to a different level,
and I'm grateful. A more specific forecast right here from Craig.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint of the WIBX Weather Center. Today, partly to mostly cloudy, a few sprinkles or wet flurries up north, mainly sunny south, the high near 50. Tonight, mostly to partly cloudy, near 30. And tomorrow, partly sunny, mainly dry, but becoming cloudy by late afternoon with scattered rain showers developing by evening, turning even milder, high near 55. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Well, Bill, with the change of the weather, of course, regular season baseball is just around the corner. But for now, the stage is set for the World Baseball Classic. The United States will take on Japan tonight in Miami for all the marbles. Japan defeated Mexico 6-5 last night in the semifinals. A walk-off double in the bottom of the ninth inning. Masakata Yoshida hit a 3-run homer in the bottom of the seventh inning that got Japan on the board after 6 innings of scoreless offense. Shohei Ohtani totaled 2 hits and a pair of runs in the victory. Japan is aiming to claim its 3rd title in the 5th ever World Baseball Classic. The NFL's commissioner will be sticking around for a while. ESPN says Roger Goodell and NFL owners expected to finalize a multi-year contract extension at next week's owners' meeting in Phoenix. The commissioner's extension has been in the works since last season, where the sides discussed a 3-year extension. The ultimatum is being given for the Jets to trade for Aaron Rodgers. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport says the NFL draft in late April has been set as a deadline to get a deal done. The NFL Insider joined the Pat McAfee show and said the deadlines are always what drives these kind of deals. The star quarterback said he wants to play for the Jets, but both teams are still figuring out trade compensation. An NBA Hall of Famer looking to get in on the Commanders. According to ESPN, Magic Johnson has joined a group led by Josh Harris bidding to own the Washington Commanders. Harris also owns the NBA's Philadelphia 76ers and the NHL's New Jersey Devils. The Houston Texans adding a pair of veteran playmakers to their offense. Houston has signed tight end Dalton Schultz, formerly a Dallas Cowboy, and running back Devin Singletary, formerly a Buffalo Bill. Both of those were one-year contracts. The Knicks last night winning streak came to an end after 3 games. They were toppled 140-134 by the Minnesota Timberwolves at Madison Square Garden. Was that a triple overtime game? 140-134?
Wow.
Holy Toledo. Julius Randle led all scorers with 57 points last night. The Nets will be looking to put an end to their 3-game slide. Brooklyn continues its 4-game homestand when they take on the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first of back-to-back games tonight. The Rangers trying to get some reinforcements on the blue line. According to head coach Gerard Gallant, defenseman Ryan Lindgren could make his long-awaited return to the lineup when the Rangers host the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at MSG. The Islanders return home from a West Coast road trip in hopes of extending their winning streak to 3 games tonight. And preseason baseball, who cares?
Okay, I am going to do something here that I've never done before, ever. Are you ready? Done some investigating.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
So I don't want to say the exact name because I don't want, for obvious reasons. So there's a particular bread out there that I love. Let's call it Schmeidelberg bread. I don't want to say the name.
All right. Yeah, that's not suggestive.
You'll have to figure out what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, it's Heidelberg. You probably couldn't figure it out, right, with that code.
I wouldn't have known if you didn't say it.
You wouldn't have known. Maybe people can assist here.
Okay.
315-736-0186. What has happened? And I have been the biggest supporter of the bread and the bread. Heidelberg bread has been. I'm on a no carbs diet, so when I do have a little piece of bread, toasted with butter.
You're drooling. Can you get a napkin? He's drooling in here.
The Heidelberg cracked wheat is just so. I grew up on Spano Brothers. The hard crust. Oh, that's a good bread.
Yeah, it is.
But I fell in love with Heidelberg bread.
Yeah.
And about Heidelberg, you don't want to leave it out for too many nights on the countertop because it'll get moldy.
Because it's
no
fresh.
Preservatives, it's fresh, etc. And that cracked wheat was so unbelievable. The nooks and the crannies in the bread. It was. I don't know what's happened, but the recipe has changed.
Is that right?
Dramatically changed.
You sure your taste buds didn't change?
No. Dramatically changed. They've changed the bag. I get it. I don't know why you would do that. The bag was beautiful. It was like artwork.
Just a clear bag.
Whenever I'd see the bag, like the commercial, I would immediately walk up in the grocery store and say, Heidelberg. Like the guy on the commercial, Heidelberg. I don't know what has happened, but it is a completely... The cracked wheat is like the white bread now. I don't know what's happened. That cracked wheat, I have a loaf in my freezer that has been in there, and I don't even want to touch it for fear that it'll never. This are the last 32 slices of cracked wheat bread I'm ever going to have. What happened to Heidelberg bread?
Do you remember in Sopranos where Bobby's wife dies and he's got the last lasagna?
This is like that.
He puts it in the freezer and he doesn't want to touch it.
You don't want to touch it. You want to keep it there.
Yeah, this is where
this
you
is
are.
Like that.
I've got a bag of the original Heidelberg, the cracked wheat, before they changed the recipe.
That's exactly right. And
I'm saving it.
You know, based on the fact that there's about 24 to 30 slices in there, I could probably have a slice per year for the rest of my life.
This is my annual Heidelberg sandwich.
It's New Year's Eve. Let's everyone gather around the Christmas tree and watch me eat my cracked wheat bread.
All right, so I'd like to hear from folks because I know this is like it's like a cult thing, especially in the Valley, right?
I am. Well, I guess, but it's big here. It's big all over. It's you know, Heidelberg is sold in you can get it at like Whole Foods and places like that. I mean, it's all over the Northeast.
Yeah, I enjoy the bread, but not to the level where you're like, I'm like, oh, I gotta have this particular bread for my sandwich. I'd love to hear from other people if they agree with you.
It is the only bread that we really buy. You'll buy a little something, but we always, for the last 15, 20 years since my kids have been alive.
This is true.
My daughter, even my daughter was like, what happened to Heidelberg? That's not cracked wheat. They must have put the white bread in the cracked wheat bag. But no, I bought it again yesterday. And it seems like it's white bread. I do not know what has happened. You got to book somebody. We got to get somebody on the air about this. I have helped promote this bread since the very beginning.
Yes.
And I don't know what has happened.
Look, I think it's very good.
No, it's the best.
You know, fair enough. If Bill says it's the best, Bill says it's the best. But now you're saying something has changed. I'd love to hear from other people.
And toasted, it's just will blow your mind. You know what I'll do with toasted? For instance, you make a nice Italian dinner, and I realize cracked wheat bread. It's not an Italian bread. I understand that, and there's some amazing breads in the area.
Yeah,
I understand all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing like a nice fluffy just bite into Italian bread. There's nothing, but I'll take the cracked wheat, toast it, sprinkle a little granulated garlic and a little salt and just a touch of red wine vinegar, and it's the most delicious thing you've ever had. But not any longer. It's completely different. Joe is on the line. Hi, Joe. Good morning. Oh, I got to hit your button. Hi, Joe. Good morning.
Morning.
What do you know, Joe?
I noticed ever since Spanos sold, their bread has changed as well.
Spanos has changed. You're right. Completely correct. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
And probably never was.
And
right?
No, there, Will Rogers. It was. It was. Yeah, that's I think what happens is can you imagine the day if Nora's Candy Shop in Rome were to get rid of turkey joints? And they'd sell it off to some company that decides, oh, we can do it better. You don't need that equipment. You don't need to do it this way. We got cheaper ingredients we can use. They would not taste the same. Turkey joints taste the same as they have for decades and decades. I don't know what's happened to the bread. So you're not a Heidelberg guy. You like the Spano brothers like I do as well.
Oh, I like them both.
Yeah. Have you tasted the new Heidelberg?
No, sounds like I don't want to taste it now, and so you're telling me about the cracked wheat.
Joe, I'm telling you, get the cracked wheat, and you tell me I'm wrong. And you're absolutely correct on the Spano brothers. It's different today. So, all right, Joe, thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill.
All right, Travis, and when you're someone like me who barely cheats, and has a piece of bread, when you have that piece, you just want it to be the memory that you have of that bread, and I don't know. So what we need to do, Jeff, is let's get the Heidelberg people on the air and find out what happened. Because it's not I'm not don't say we're going to bring them on so that we can ask if something happened. I'm telling you something has happened. It is completely different. It is no longer the cracked wheat bread that it used to be. So I don't want to know if something happened. I want to know what in the hell happened to my bread?
Ed and Alien says, I agree. It's changed a lot. It's not what it used to be. And Birthday Wayne said this morning, Tell him he's got to try Dave's bread or Dave's breads.
Dave's
breads.
Yeah, that's what are they? It's Dave's Hell of a Breads or Crazy Dave's Breads or something like that. Yeah, we've had it.
I haven't.
It's
had it.
got.
You don't sound impressed though.
My wife likes it. It's got all the, the seeds in it and all of that. I may have to now.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's the Heidelberg had a firmness to it. It was cracked wheat. There were little seeds in it, and now it's just like bleached flour. It's not the same thing. I don't know. We're going to dig into it. We're going to find out.
I'm sure they'll be in a rush to come on after that line.
It's just not the same. That's all I'm saying. It's just not the same. I haven't even gotten to the peasant bread yet. Maybe the peasant bread has changed too. I hope not. But I'll let you know on that one, too. It's another one that I have consumed often in my last 20 years. Coming up, we'll speak with Dr. Kent Hall from MVHS. Anybody else knows anything on what happened to the bread? 315-736-0186. This is serious. What happened to the bread?
You ever see, like, for instance, we have over here, we have this giant calendar, some beautiful pictures of Utica Mac trucks. It's a Utica Mac calendar. And if you go into someone's garage, they might have, the 12 prettiest babes of 2023 on the calendar.
Yes.
Bill has his favorite bread.
Pieces of bread.
Every month, he's got a different style and brand of bread up there.
Here I have it cut in half, and the other way, look at how I crisscrossed it in half. Isn't that exciting? Look at the beautiful photo. 720, think about it. Try it if you haven't tried it, and you will agree with me. 720 at WIBX.
I can't take this kitchen any longer. Carl, we need to start looking for a new house.
Honey, you know the housing market is tight. It's going to be next to impossible to find something that we like.
I know, but this kitchen has to go.
Hey, what about a home equity loan from Adirondack Bank? We can turn the equity from our home into cash to renovate, just the way you want.
Renovate?
Adirondack Bank has competitive rates, and they've been a trusted community bank for decades.
A new kitchen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we would need new furniture, and we could repair the deck, even add a pool, and take that trip to Italy that we've always talked about.
Whoa, slow down, honey. Let's go talk to the experts at Adirondack Bank about that home equity loan. Then we can decide where to start.
I've always wanted to add on a craft room, and our bathroom needs a facelift.
Don't move. Improve. Stop into your local Adirondack Bank branch for more information on a home equity loan or visit AdirondackBank.com. Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Buy a home. It will feel great. Now I have to go buy mulch, pull out weeds, seed the grass, cut the grass, do that aeration thing. It's too much. A branch just fell. Lovely.
Don't worry about all of that. You worked hard to get the home. Let You Call, We Haul do the rest. Be the envy of the neighborhood. You call, we haul. We do it all. For a free consultation, call 315-351-6412 or visit YouCallWeHaulNY.com.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Go green, they say. But how? Start with your biggest investment, your home. Invest in the future with a new water furnace geothermal heating and cooling system by City Suburban. We at City Suburban have converted hundreds of customers to green energy to heat and cool their home. And we can do the same for you. Now is the best time with the New York State Clean Heat Energy Program, where you can save up to $12,000 while funds are available on your water furnace geothermal system, plus a 30% federal tax credit. They say go green. We say go Geo.
Hi, this is Chris from City Suburban. There's never been a better time than ever to go green. With the New York State Clean Heat Energy rebates and federal tax credit, you can save thousands on the installation, plus save for years to come on energy costs. And like always, every installation comes with City Suburban's POMG. That's peace of mind guaranteed. Call us today at 853-3899. That's 853-3899. Or visit us at citysuburban.com for more information.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Hey, Ricky Z is ready for you here in the month of March as their Move to Mazda sales event is back. Enjoy 0.9% APR financing up to 36 months on all new 2023 Mazda CX-30s, CX-5s, and CX-50s. And if you've been noticing a lot more Mazdas driving by you, maybe it's time for you to be driving an award-winning Mazda. It's their Move to Mazda sales event from the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction. Rick says, come on in. Let's make your deal. A lower payment, a lower price. Let's make your deal. Steep Pawnee Mazda on Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
I know it does sound odd, but I swear to you, as we're going through the kitchen, and, my daughter's not in town. My son's not in town. My one son is in town. But for the two that are out of town, they came home, and they're like, you know what they want? They want Heidelberg. They want us to send Heidelberg down to them. And that's where this all came from. My daughter was like, what has happened to Heidelberg? It's completely different now. Mm. Yeah, and it was. I think we get stuff that we love, right? You just crave it, you love it, and then if the recipe changes or something changes, it's not their product, it's your product. Who messed with my bread, right?
Yes.
Your mother used to make something a certain way every year, every day, every week you had something. And then one day she came in, I found a new recipe. No, I don't want the new recipe. I want the way you made it. That's what I like.
So what is it called? Now, this is a little bit different, and I got a couple bread comments here. Smitty, did it used to be Cool Ranch or Cooler Ranch? When I was growing up, Dorito Ranch potato chips were my favorite thing in the world.
Cool Ranch.
Cool Ranch was the salad dressing, right? Is that where it comes from?
Well, ranch is the salad dressing.
Oh.
But their brand of ranch potato chips was either Cooler Ranch or Cool Ranch, and now it's changed to the opposite of what I said. And it's a change in the recipe. To me, it wasn't the same potato chip. Now they're still delicious, but it tastes different. John in Marcy, this is Nagel, says, new to me bakery on South Street across from Paul's Pub. It's called Night Owl Bakery. I tried their dark rye with my corned beef and cabbage this weekend. It was awesome. I've got to try all their varieties, so that's called Night Owl. And then John in Rome says, the greatest bread around here stopped being made when Star Bakery closed. Now, I believe Star Bakery still has a location in Whitesboro, but I grew up on Bacon Street, which is where Star Bakery was, right on the corner. They used to make, I'd wake up to that every morning in the summer. You'd wake up, you smell the donuts and the bread. It was unbelievable.
Davey.
That Star Bakery over there on Main Street in Whitesboro is closed, now called Ramone's Bakery.
Oh, okay, now it's Ramone's. Okay, yep. But I'm telling you, right down the road was the original Star Bakery there. Man, it was so good.
It is what it is. My in-laws are from Niagara Falls. There's a place in Niagara Falls where they get bread, and the Camillos, maybe that's what it's called. And whenever they go there, they buy that bread, and it's the same as it's been since probably the 1940s or whatever. Viola's Subs out there too. That's if you're familiar with Niagara Falls, that's a sandwich. I've never had anything like it. Whenever we're out that way, we always make a trip into Niagara Falls to get one of those sandwiches. So food does play a role in your life. Things that are a certain recipe. So when it's gone, you're Plays a role in your life. That's all I'm saying.
The carb diet's the worst thing for you. It's like trying to take air away.
Got me thinking about carbs every second. Dr. Ken Hall from MVHS, who, by the way, completely endorses the keto diet and thinks I'm right on the straight and narrow with my diet. Good morning, Doc. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Wonderful. I should say I'm not sure you completely agree with me on that, but good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I endorse healthy eating.
As opposed to the diets that people go on that are a little more fad-like, right?
Yeah, there are a number of diets, and unfortunately, most diets, once you achieve your goal weight, most people go on diets because they want to lose weight and they want to get to a certain weight, and then when they get to that weight, instead of really changing their diet permanently, they revert back to what they were, and they end up gaining all the weight back, and sometimes even more. So that's why healthy eating, where you really just watch what you eat and try to eat a balanced diet and things like that. Now, I will admit that I am telling you this, but I am not saying that I necessarily follow this all the time.
Well, you're in good shape, though. I mean, you are healthy looking, I would say.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I was a marathon runner in the recent past. I'd like to get back to it, but I've been having some foot problems. So, although I have a great podiatrist who's been helping me a lot. So.
Okay.
I'll mention, for football season, I love to get like 20 chicken wings, load them up with sauce, and do soda, and sit there all day and just watch football and eat chicken wings. And I always say, like the doctor just said, boy, I really wish I could lose 25 pounds. But do you know why I want to lose 25 pounds? So I can guilt-free sit there on Sunday and eat chicken wings all day long. That's why.
And the roller coaster continues. Doc, a lot of people over the course of the last few weeks have been sick over the course of the last few months. They get tested. It's not COVID. They get tested. It's not the flu. What is it that's going around, or is it a multitude of things that are viruses and that sort of thing that are traveling around the area?
Yeah, so it's really a multitude. The big three that we kind of look at, number one is COVID, number two is flu, and number three is respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV. Those are the big three that we've been looking at really for the last 3 or 4 months. I guess 5 months now. The reality is that there are tens of viruses out there that cause upper respiratory infections, and they all have, some of them have really weird names that people, that are interesting, like parainfluenza and meta-influenza and things like that. Others, really just have their scientific names. So, we don't test for those, mostly because there is nothing that if we diagnosed you with a specific virus, there is no specific treatment for it. Unlike COVID, where you can take Paxlovid, or the flu, where you can take Tamiflu. The others really are, it's just what your mom always told you. Drink plenty of fluids, take ibuprofen or Tylenol for fever and body aches, and just stay away from people until you get better. So that's probably why it is that people are saying, well, you've got a respiratory virus. Can't really tell you what it is, but I can tell you what it's not. It's not COVID. Yeah. It's not the flu.
Speaking of COVID, the big thing over the last couple of weeks, maybe a little longer than that, has been the actual source of what COVID came from. And it is amazing that certain governmental agencies came out and said that they thought it came from the lab. They are unsure if it was intentional. Most likely it wasn't. And their confidence level on this is low. Where I'm from, if you don't have any confidence in what you're about to say, maybe you shouldn't say it. That's just my take there. This is something we were discussing maybe a month ago. And now, we have heard bats. We've heard it came from the lab. We've heard all sorts of things. And now they're saying it almost certainly came from a raccoon dog. What is a raccoon dog, and where did this come from?
Yeah, so I can't speak to what a raccoon dog is. I should talk to my brother. He's a veterinarian. But I would say that both on both sides, the lab side and the wet market side, they all have, varying degrees of relatively low comfort in terms of what they're saying, which kind of goes to we just don't have enough data. And, to be fair, China has not necessarily been entirely forthcoming, because of the culture that they have and the government that they have. And so, we may never know for sure. We feel, I guess, based on what I've read, is that there is pretty good confidence that it was not a deliberate act, that whatever it was not deliberate. It was not, sabotage or whatever, that it was, some kind of a phenomenon, whether it was a natural phenomenon from the wet market or whether it was something that was being worked on in a lab and escaped. But it doesn't sound like it was something that was, deliberately done.
Yeah. By the way, a raccoon dog is common in Japan, and it's exactly what you might think. It looks like it's a cross between a dog and a raccoon.
Yeah.
And they say that it can, very much like a raccoon, it can climb trees, it can accomplish things. Raccoons, have you ever seen raccoons in the wild, what a raccoon can actually do? It uses its hands, its paws, like humans use their hands. Quite interesting, but a raccoon dog, never have ever heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
And then as of the latest, it has been confirmed that everything is going to happen within a 24-hour period. That is, once the hospital opens, all patients have to be moved within that 24-hour period. That seems to be the plan going forward.
That's exactly right, and we anticipate, based on the company that we've hired to really, facilitate this for us, they're saying that that 18 hours is probably a reasonable time frame, although they think that they may even be able to do it quicker than that.
Wow. Okay, that's going to be a very interesting thing to watch once this does happen in the fall.
It is. If I may, I got an email from a listener last night that asked me some questions. Is it okay if I answer those?
Absolutely.
So there were a few questions. The first is, what has been the evolution of the change in symptoms of people that got COVID? So early on, as everybody remembers, there were really significant symptoms. A lot of people were admitted to the hospital, shortness of breath and cough, loss of taste and smell, and inflammation of the blood vessels, which led to blood clotting and, circulation problems with, which, ultimately led to things like, blood clots in the lungs and heart problems and kidney problems and, loss of limb and things like that. With the new variants, it has evolved to be much less significant. Now the vast majority of symptoms are upper respiratory, so nasal congestion, sore throat, low-grade fevers as opposed to the higher fevers, muscle aches, and kind of just generalized tiredness are the common ones now. Really, the reason for this change is really threefold. Number one is the fact that the virus itself has changed. And then the other two reasons are vaccines and just people getting infected. So basically, it boils down to people developing immunity from the virus, and the more your body recognizes the virus early on, the less severe the symptoms are, which is really good. The other question that I was asked related to current patients. So we currently have 11 patients in the Mohawk Valley Health System that have COVID. We have one in the ICU. Of those 11, one is not fully vaccinated, and the other 10 are fully vaccinated, and 7 of those are actually boosted as well. So it is not, that I think goes along with what our population has.
Yeah.
He also asked about deaths. We've had 280 deaths in the Mohawk Valley Health System. About a little bit more than half of those, 148 of them, were unvaccinated, the majority of those early on in the first year or so.
And how does that compare to the flu? Like a bad year of the flu?
So a bad year of the flu flu, first of all, we wouldn't have nearly that many deaths. The Mohawk Valley Health System, an average flu, we probably have 15 or 20 deaths from the flu per se. The vast majority of those in people that have significant underlying medical problems to begin with.
Okay, but it does seem as if, very much like the flu, when you think of the pandemic, the 1918 Spanish flu, that was a killer. And throughout the years, we've had flu strains that have killed people. But it seems that over the years, we've built some sort of an immunity. Is the same thing happening with COVID?
Yeah, so I think you're spot on there. I think that's exactly what's happening. That's what I would anticipate going forward. Is as the population. So this is where we get to what we talked about with herd immunity and things. It isn't full immunity, but it is that you get enough people who have been exposed to it and have fought off the illness, that the severity becomes much less, and therefore the transmission becomes less. Herd immunity is where you can actually stop the transmission, and we're not there, nor do I ever think, honestly, that we'll ever get there. But it certainly mitigates it significantly. So the other question that I was asked, and this was more just a general question, was about availability of ICU beds. So I think, as everybody knows, health systems in general have had an increase in the number of patients for a number of reasons, not necessarily related to COVID alone, although that probably plays a part. We have had intermittently, we've had issues with ICU beds, although in general we usually have about 10 to 15% of our ICU beds available. Any one day it may take a few hours to get somebody into an ICU bed from the emergency department, but in general that is not overly a big problem for us.
Okay. And then going forward, will you be even in a better position when you move into the new hospital?
Yeah, so we currently, so for a number of reasons, the ICU is going to be one whole floor of the hospital is just the ICU, so a significant number of beds there. The other thing is all of the rooms are single rooms, which means that when you have to isolate somebody because they do have potentially transmissible disease, whether it's COVID or the flu or something else. Currently many of our rooms are double occupancy, and so it's a matter of trying to switch people around. Now that won't be a problem because everybody's going to be in their own room.
Okay. Doc, as always, we appreciate it, and have a wonderful week. We'll speak with you again next week.
Sounds good, everybody. Please have a great day, and please be safe.
Yep, we do the same. The chief, he is the chief physician executive.
Well done.
No.
Remember, he told us last week.
Oh, right.
He got a promotion.
He's got
senior
a promotion.
Something.
Well, I'm glad you remembered what the promotion was.
Yeah.
You're right. He has he's gotten a big promotion.
Senior
there,
something.
Dr. Hall, thank you. River Hills Properties. If you're in the position where 2023, I mean, listen, it's going to be in the upper 50s this week. We're looking at beautiful. I think tomorrow is going to be the closest to 60 we're going to see this week. Wonderful, right? And what it does, it gets you outside. I saw some people even earlier in the week, Monday, out raking, getting all ready, raking around the snow. There's still a little snow out there. And if you're thinking about selling your home, now is that time. We're moving into that season where people are getting ready to say, you know what, it's time to sell. Think about sitting down with the people at River Hills Properties and talking about, don't take it from me, even though I've had a personal experience with River Hills, as my wife has, and we highly recommend them. Interview on your own. Find out what it is that you need, and you'll be surprised to find out that Bill and Robin Monjo and all the agents at River Hills will assist you from start to finish. Whatever it is you need to lower your stress level, they are there for you from the very beginning till the closing of the house. And every time your house is shown, no one's going to walk through your home without the listing agent, whether it's Bill and Robin Monjo or one of the other listing agents. No one will walk through your home without one of them there to answer questions and to keep an eye on things and make sure your home is ready to put that best foot forward. You look like you want to say something, Jeff.
I'm actually reading our comments from listeners, and I'm shaking my head in agreement.
Okay. Did I go too far on the bread?
No, they've got other examples. Pizza, and we can go on and on. I'll mention it when we come back.
There are a lot of things, right, that used to be one way and are not another. You know what's not like that? River Hills Properties. It used to be one way, and it still is. They service you from start to finish. How about that transition? I didn't even know it was coming. Man, we can work on our feet. River Hills Properties in Barneville, Little Falls, Utica. Online, it's riverhillspropertiesllc.com. You're never going to say, remember when they used to do it this way? They always will do it one way. It's the River Hills way. Nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties. All right, let's do our free money question of the day from the Hobeika Law Firm. Davey, right now we're looking for caller number what?
4.
Fourth caller through the lines, 315-736-0186.
Hi, I'm Max Carbone, sales manager at Power Sports of Utica. We are currently overstocked on 2023 Ski-Doo models, and we are offering up to $2,000 off sticker plus a $500 gift card for anything in the store. Kawasaki KLR models have $1,000 in rebates as well, and we have all colors and trims available in stock and ready for delivery. Kawasaki KLX models have $400 in rebate and up to $1,500 off KX models. Come visit us at Power Sports of Utica, Central New York's Four Seasons Toy Store.
Hi, this is Shalene with Northland Trailers located on River Road in Marcy. At Northland, we offer a full line of utility, snowmobile, enclosed, dump, and equipment trailers. We can also custom design a trailer to meet your specific needs. In addition to trailers, we have a full parts showroom, and we service what we sell. Our family business is proud to have been serving our community for over 4 decades. Northland Trailers is located right outside the city of Utica. So swing on down and let's talk towing.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing. Or this one. I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better, unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life. You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, it's time for us to do the Hobeika Law Firm's free money question of the day. And it comes from Joseph and Andrew Hobeika, 315-724-1600 for all of your legal needs. Listen, the way it works, very simple. When you need an attorney, call Hobeika, 315-724-1600. Tim is in New York Mills. Hello, Tim. Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Here's your question. This is an easy one, I think. Here we go. You'll have 7 seconds to answer. FDU coach Tobin Anderson, his first head coaching job was at which college or university? Ready, go.
Hamilton.
Gonna go with Hamilton. It's not Hamilton. Pick the other one. You said Colgate. It was not Colgate. It was Clark. His first job. There's a story on our website that goes through it. There are like 50 pictures of this coach. He wears his heart on his sleeve. It's unbelievable. Every gesture, every facial expression from this 16-seeded team that had everybody going and broke everybody's bracket. Clarkson University was his first coaching assistant job, and his first head coach job was at Clarkson. Listen, I'm going to give you, from Fat Cats Comedy Club, we'll give you a table for 6 at Fat Cats this weekend, or pick a weekend. Davey will hook you up. We'll also give you the all-in-one food and fun card. That's a $25 gift card, good at any of the restaurants at the Mohawk Valley Garden. Aquavino in New Hartford, Babes, 72 Tavern and Grill, Taylor and the Cook, or any of the concession stands at the Adirondack Bank Center. Tim, stand by, and Davey's going to hook you up, okay?
All right, thank you, Bill. Nice show.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Clarkson University was his first coaching job. His first Division I coaching job was where?
Hamilton. No,
they're Division III.
Yeah. I have no idea.
It was Siena. He was an assistant coach at Siena.
Oh, okay.
His first Division I head coaching job. His first Division I head coaching job is FDU.
FDU.
Yeah. I don't know if you're following this, but New York State is about to, and I'm not a smoker. However, it's legal. And if you're going to make smoking legal, then I don't understand why we're going through all of these restrictions. And menthol, of all things, they want to ban menthol cigarettes. You know more about this than I do.
Look,
I just think it seems ridiculous.
We're joined by the chief executive at the New York State Association, Association of Convenience Stores. I'll let him make the point, but I just want to point something out that I think people should keep in mind where we are today. This is not an anti-marijuana thing, okay? But I did say about a year ago, remember when they were trying to ban flavored vapes? You couldn't have any kind of flavored vapes because it meant kids were going to want to do it. And I said, what does that create? When you take that off the market, it just creates a whole new black market. People are still going to get their flavored vape. They're just not going to buy it from a licensed retailer. They're going to buy it from somebody who's selling it out the back of their trunk.
Which is not safe.
And I just keep it in mind going forward. Again, this is not an anti-marijuana thing. But when you can buy 39 different flavors of marijuana, how does the argument not apply to that as well? Now, where this ties in is they basically say menthol is a flavor, and it encourages kids to smoke because it's a flavored
First
cigarette.
of all, never in the world, if you ever say to your kid, what flavor lollipop do you want?
Menthol, Dad.
Never in the world has a kid said menthol. I do not understand this.
You have any of those candies? You mean cough drops?
Here's Ken. So that's right. The reason kids don't like Hall's cough drops is because they're menthol. I mean, is that
a stupid argument?
Ken Sopris is the chief executive of the New York Association of Convenience Stores. And Ken, I just think this. Listen, I'm not pro-cigarette by any means, but this doesn't seem to make any sense.
You guys have both raised very good points, and I don't think you have to interview me because basically you've made my points here.
Yeah.
But
sorry about that.
Couple things here. The governor did introduce a menthol ban and a cigarette tax increase. The purpose of which purportedly was to get kids to not smoke as much. Well, the thing is, as you raised, kids aren't smoking menthol cigarettes. In fact, the child smoking rate is at the lowest it's ever been, about 1%, 1.5%.
Awesome.
They are smoking, ironically, these flavored vapes that have been banned since 2019. And you say, well, Kent, how is that possible? They've been banned. Well, they're on the underground market. They're easy to get. You can get them at illegal retailers. You can get them at the native reservations, and you can go to other states and get them. There's not a problem finding these products. And what happens when you try to ban products or increase taxes on products, they just leave the legal retail store, such as my members, and they go off into the black market.
Right.
And that's what's happening here. And we've seen this, and this is just not me saying this as the head of the Convenience Store Association. The state of Massachusetts in 2019 banned menthol cigarettes. Guess what happened? The state released a report a couple weeks ago saying that the increase of illegal smuggling has increased exponentially, that they're not sure what to do.
Let me, Ken, they started out by saying that this was about, because flavor, menthol, it's being targeting children. But they've kind of switched their strategy, and they're now saying that it has targeted minorities, especially the black population, right? How do you respond to that?
I don't know anything about targeting the black population. I do know that menthols are a popular item in every county of upstate New York. They're about a third of the items sold in convenience stores throughout the state, regardless of the predominant majority race of that county. So you can do the math there. It's a popular item. People who currently smoke menthols will not stop smoking them if they were banned. They'll just go somewhere else. If they increase the taxes, they'll go to a store that doesn't collect taxes. And then you have another problem. Yesterday I sent the governor a letter saying, you know what, if you want to be serious about cessation and lowering smoking rates and crime, increase enforcement. The state has been very lax. Not a week goes by where I don't get a call from one of my members saying, hey, the store across the street is selling this illegal item.
Right.
Well, it's time, if the state is serious about this, it's time to put the money into enforcement, money into cessation, and work with convenience stores, legal stores, on things like cessation products being sold in stores. Some of my stores already do that. Many of my stores, it's required for you to ID everyone. We don't sell to anyone under the age of 21. But you know who doesn't ID is the underground market, the illicit retailers. So we've tried to make the case to the state. The legislature has heard us. They've removed the flavor ban from their budget proposals. Unfortunately, the tax is still in play. But until we get to the final budget, we are still fighting this. And again, you raise the cannabis issue. They've legalized cannabis. You can smoke blueberry weed, but they're going to say you can't smoke a blueberry Swisher Sweet. And that makes no sense.
I have someone here saying, are you saying that we shouldn't ban things because it'll just go to the black market?
We shouldn't ban certain products. They'll just go to the underground market.
Well,
absolutely.
And keep in mind, though, we're talking about something that is a legal product, and then they move to ban it. You can't ban anything.
This is the problem with cigarettes. Here's the dirty little secret. Government doesn't want to give up on cigarettes.
Right.
Because they make so much money. They bring in so much money.
Part of this proposal is another $1 per tax per pack.
Right.
Part of this proposal as well.
It is, and you want to hear something funny? The governor and the legislature have all agreed that cessation is important, that these programs are important. We need to fund these programs, and yet the dollar tax increase, per the budget documents of the governor's office, the Senate, and the Assembly, all estimate a negative $25 million hit next year. So they're going backwards. They're increasing taxes. They're forcing people into the underground market, and the state programs used for cessation and enforcement, purportedly, you're taking money away from them.
Yeah. I cannot help but go back to the commercial I keep seeing about the menthol targeting minorities and targeting the black population. I've never heard of such a thing, but even that, you could make an argument that people in poorer communities end up having worse habits. They don't eat as well. They don't have that education. Sometimes they don't have the means to be able to avoid certain things, so they fall into that. Is not the same thing as what we're talking about here, though.
No,
Correct.
We're not talking. We're talking about a legal product that is governed by the federal government. That if you take out of a certain portion of legal retail stores, will do nothing more than make people get them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. In New York City has almost 70% illegal cigarette sales. So statewide, our smuggling rate is about 53%. 53% of all cigarettes smoked in New York State are from illegal points of origin. Okay? If you take an entire category out, it's going to reach 60, 70, 80%. And guess what, guys? Once you're at that level of illegal smuggling, there's no going back.
No. All right. Is this happening?
This is we're going to do our best to make sure it does not happen.
Yeah.
We'll know in about a week.
Read the tobacco leaves. What's your prediction?
I believe that the folks who are, my members are fighting hard on this, and we are hopeful that the powers that be will hear us.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate your time, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All
Bye-bye.
right. So what I find interesting is we find ourselves fighting for a product that we all agree is bad for us.
This is the biggest regret of my life. Do not smoke. If you're a young person, do not smoke. You will regret it forever.
Is part of the problem with this. It just, to me, if you're going to make it legal, banning this because of whatever reason, it's kids or it just doesn't, to me, make any sense. Education is the only way you're going to prevent it, and that, by the way, is why the rate of kids smoking today is so low. It's far lower than when we went to school.
Unfortunately, some of that is they're replacing it with vapes.
Could be the case.
Which there's no shortage of either, by the way. There's no shortage of, even though it's illegal.
Don't understand the whole thing, to be honest with you. I got to break news next.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
They're not ready yet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A grand jury investigating former President Trump in New York City has another witness tomorrow. He had predicted over the weekend he'd be arrested today.
Just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history of our country.
Trump on Truth Social last night.
Officials in New York City have been monitoring online chatter of threats with portable metal barricades ready to safeguard streets and sidewalks in preparation for possible unrest if there is an indictment.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
The grand jury is looking into a hush money payment made to a porn star by former President Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign.
That was to keep Stormy Daniels quiet about an alleged affair. It's being investigated as an unreported campaign donation, which the Manhattan DA could prosecute as a violation of the law. In Los Angeles, those are school bus drivers out picketing instead of driving, as thousands of school staffers, including custodians and teachers' aides, start a 3-day strike closing Los Angeles public schools. They're demanding a 30% pay raise, even higher for some. It's day 2 for China's leader Xi Jinping in Russia for talks with President Vladimir Putin. He's promoting a peace plan for Ukraine.
Washington has denounced the visit as providing diplomatic cover for the Russian president to commit more crimes. Meanwhile, in Kyiv, a surprise visitor from a longtime rival of China, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, showing up for meetings with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Biden has signed a law that passed Congress in a rare unanimous way, declassifying intelligence on the origins of COVID. Many Republicans joined the FBI and Energy Department assessing the virus likely leaked out of a Chinese lab. The president also vetoed his first bill banning retirement money managers from considering factors Republicans considered woke. The president says they're important.
They couldn't take into consideration investments that wouldn't be impacted by climate, impacted by overpaying executives.
America's listening to Fox News.
If I could be you,
and you could be me, for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Sunshine we have this morning and 31 degrees, warming up to about 50 degrees this afternoon. A closer look at your forecast is coming up in just a few minutes. This news update is brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Utica and Power Sports of Utica. Stop in today to check out their large selection at 4870 Commercial Drive. Utica police charging a woman with attempted arson for allegedly trying to start one inside the Kennedy Plaza apartments. Police were called to the complex just after 3 a.m. Monday morning after a call from a tenant in the building. A man living there said while inside his unit, he noticed his hallway floor mat was on fire and someone was trying to push that lit mat under his door. The victim ran to the door to try and put out the fire and saw a woman standing on the other side that he was familiar with. She was later identified as 47-year-old Doretha Roll. She's now charged with attempted arson. 2 suspects running from authorities in a stolen Jeep in New York crashed into a school bus with several kids on board. According to Rochester police, 2 suspects stole a red Jeep at knife point from a 51-year-old woman, and as they were fleeing, they were spotted by police who apprehended the vehicle. During that traffic stop, police told the 2 males to exit. The driver then allegedly backed up into the police car and sped off. Witnesses tell Fox 5 in Rochester that vehicle drove the wrong way down a road, ultimately crashing into a school bus that had 17 children on board. The 2 suspects then exited and were trying to flee the scene. A video shot by a witness shows police chasing the 2 men, yelling at them to get on the ground. None of the kids were hurt. You can read more on that story on our website at WIBX950.com. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer unveiling a plan to get an extremely dangerous drug off the streets. And that drug is called xylazine, and it's been linked to overdose deaths across upstate New York. In Schenectady yesterday, the New York senator said that he's calling on the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to speed up its efforts to track down the sources of xylazine. He's also pushing for over $530 million in funding to the Community-Oriented Policing Services Hiring Program to help stop drug trafficking. Local drivers paying about the same for gas this week as they were last week. According to AAA, the average cost for a gallon of regular fuel in the Utica-Rome market is at $3.46. That's unchanged over the past week. Our neighbors in Syracuse paying a nickel less at $3.41 a gallon. Statewide in New York, the average is $3.43. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast, a nice warm-up here midweek. We get details from Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint. And I apologize, we're having trouble with that audio. Breakdown of the forecast here. Partly sunny skies for this afternoon today. We'll warm temps up into about 50 degrees. Increasing clouds tonight with a low of 31. Mostly cloudy for your Wednesday with a high of 55. Showers likely on Thursday. Again, a high in the mid-50s. Friday, mostly cloudy and a temp in the mid-40s. Right now, some sunshine, 31 degrees. WIBX news time is 8:06. All right, in sports from the IBEW 43 local sports desk, the deadline is coming for a decision from Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, and the Jets. An ultimatum is being given for the Jets to trade for Aaron Rodgers. Ian Rappaport says the NFL draft in late April is the deadline. The NFL insider joined the Pat McAfee show and said deadlines are always what drives these kinds of things. Now, Rodgers, the star quarterback, said he wants to play for the Jets, but both teams are still figuring out details of a trade package. The NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, will be sticking around for a while. Reports say he and the NFL owners are expected to finalize a multi-million-dollar contract extension at next week's owners' meeting. Reports previously have indicated the extension would be for 3 more years. The stage is set for the World Baseball Classic final tonight. The United States will take on Japan in Miami for all the marbles. Japan defeated Mexico 6-5 in the semifinals last night, a walk-off double. Adding to the drama, Japan is aiming to claim its 3rd title in the 5th ever World Baseball Classic. The Knicks' winning streak came to an end after 3 games last night. New York was topped 140-134 by the Minnesota Timberwolves in a game where nobody played defense. The Nets will be looking to put an end to their 3-game skid. Brooklyn continues its 4-game homestand when they host the Cleveland Cavaliers for the first of back-to-back games tonight. Some hockey news. The owner of the Devils teaming up with a basketball Hall of Famer in a bid to buy a football team. ESPN says Magic Johnson has joined a group led by Josh Harris, bidding to own the Washington Commanders of the NFL. Harris also owns the NBA's Philadelphia 76ers. New Jersey is back in Newark hosting the Minnesota Wild tonight. The Devils are currently second in the Metropolitan Division with 97 points. The Rangers hoping for some reinforcements along the blue line. Defenseman Ryan Lindgren could make his long-awaited return to the lineup when the Rangers host the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at Madison Square Garden. Rick Pitino, famed head coach Rick Pitino, is set to become the new head coach for St. John's. According to ESPN, the
Davey called this 2 weeks ago. We were saying Rick Pitino might have maybe Colgate. No, we weren't saying Colgate. We were saying Syracuse.
Well, we were saying St. John's.
He would never be Syracuse. No, we were talking about him going somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
No, we were talking about Langle going to St. John's, and you said not going to happen because they're definitely going to hire Pitino. So there it is.
Yeah, so Pitino was originally on Jim Boeheim's staff early in the 80s. I think
it became a thorn in Boeheim's side forever thereafter.
I think it's a great move for St. John's. Get them back on the market. Get them back out. And Ed Cooley, who used to coach at Providence, is the new head coach at Georgetown. Matt Langle was a rumored name to go there.
Are we thinking Matt Langle stays at Colgate? I kind of think we got to get him on. Work on getting him on again for us.
Okay.
All right. We can ask him that question now.
The men's NCAA tournament, of course, they're down to 16 teams. They resume action on Thursday.
I have a lot of comments here. I have somebody saying that Heidelberg had gotten so big, and because it's all over now, you take a look at that huge, enormous facility they have in Frankfurt, that what has happened is they've had to more automate the way in which the bread is made, and that's the result of it. Well, I got to say, maybe they ought to open up an artisan store where you go to buy, higher end breads. I'd be all about that.
Wayne said this morning.
I want that bread back.
Yeah, I could tell.
It's my favorite bread in the world.
Bill's over here licking his lips.
It's terrible. It was so dense and so nooks and crannies when toasted, and oh boy, what a! I just don't know what to say.
Ed in Deansboro says Heidelberg cracked wheat has been my favorite bread for years. I haven't bought any in a while, but I noticed the packaging changed last time I was in the store. It would be disappointing if they changed it. Now Wayne brought up a good point.
Who was that?
That was Ed.
Ed.
They have.
They have.
Yeah.
Believe me, there aren't many things I'm an expert about, but I am an expert when it comes to that cracked wheat bread. I don't know how they make it. I just know how I eat it, and it is different. It is significantly different.
Wayne brought up a good point, and it was something that was actually raised by our farmer friend, Ben Simons, right? He talked about the wheat shortage this was 8 months ago, but the situation in Ukraine and that being, if you will, the world's breadbasket would impact the availability of certain wheats, flour, grain, whatever. And
I have somebody else saying that they can't get the same wheat that they were getting.
That was Wayne's suggestion that maybe that has something to do with it.
Rich says, I've been in the baking business for 50 years. Shut up. You know not what you're talking about. I added that part. Let me tell you a little secret now in the bakery bread baking business. 90% of the breads you buy are called bake-off breads. The bakery just thaws them. Well, that wasn't Heidelberg.
Yeah, no, that's not.
The bakery just thaws them, proofs them, and then bakes them. They are excellent, but not made from scratch. Scratch baking is a thing of the past. Old school bakeries still do not do scratch, but many around, and there aren't many around anymore. I don't want to get into that. Heidelberg from scratch, I noticed the rye bread isn't the same anymore. Roma's is scratch. They're Italian. Roma's.
Ramones or Roma's?
Roma's. Can I give a little shout out to Roma's Italian bread? When you go to the deli, it's in the bag and it's steaming in the bag. You could the bread is still warm. That is my favorite Italian bread.
Not to
Actually, yeah, Rob, you're right on that too. People going, this is a big deal. The bread thing is a big deal.
I'm not changing topics, but I'm just adding an extra ingredient, if you will. John in Bridgewater says this morning, now this is a little off the beaten path, but he says, speaking of companies that used to make a good product, then changed the recipe for the worse, do you remember when Domino's pizza was actually good? Because 33 years ago, back in 1990, it was unbelievable. They even had a commercial advertising campaign when the CRO of Domino's admitted how awful their pizza was about 10 years ago. Do you remember that? I do remember that.
That was a brilliant campaign, I thought. I loved that campaign, saying, all right, we've heard it's true, our pizza is bad, and we've changed it.
That was brilliant.
Yeah. Which was far better than whatever I forgot the fast food company that was like, now our chicken tenders are made with real chicken, which immediately made me think, well, what were they made with before?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know.
Menthol.
But I would say that, I just Domino's, and I don't want to speak badly about anything. Domino's was never good, except for about 2 o'clock in the morning when it's been a late night and nobody else is delivering. Domino's was unbelievable. Well, that's when Domino's is its best.
Can I just tell you, when their marketing campaign included menthol, it roped me right in. Everything's menthol.
That would do it, yeah. And then Joe says, Dr. Hall is Utica's version of Dr. Fauci. Well, to me, Joe, that would be a compliment.
It means
I don't
different
fall
things.
in line with Republicans who say the guy's a joke. I feel like he gave service to the country for many, many years. I don't buy into all the conspiracy stuff. Don't buy into it. I still like the guy.
And I feel like what you just said about his service, Dr. Hall's given a lot of service to this community, coming on every week, taking everybody's question.
Yeah, he says, my take, and I know you like the guy, his reporting has not been accurate since day one. I completely disagree. Numbers skewed from day one. I will agree with. What happened, and Dr. Hall will tell you, is you can only go based on the information that you're given. And we learned, it was like every week we were learning different things about COVID, and the statistics and the rules all changed.
Yeah.
And I feel like the doctors that are on the ground are sitting there waiting for advice from the research that's being done, and they are only able to give you the information is only as good as what's given to them. And if you notice, I think Dr. Hall, right from the very beginning, has been very, very good by saying, this is the information that we have now. So would you blame him if the information that he had at that time has changed since then? I don't think you blame him. I mean, he's just out there trying to figure it out. The other thing that I thought Dr. Hall said from the very beginning that I thought was brilliant was this. Most viruses that we've dealt with in history, you learn about it, it's studied, it's done, it's researched. It's never before have we been in a situation where it hit, the research was being done as we were experiencing it. It was being announced on a daily basis, and with that came inconsistencies, and we got a lot of those, and it became very frustrating. They would have been better off staying quiet, and then like every 2 or 3 months coming out with something new. Instead, we were getting new information every single day, and there was a lot of false information too out there. He said, "I have never heard anyone challenge his opinions." Opinions are not backed by medical evidence. I couldn't disagree. Joe, I respect you. I could not disagree with you more. I think you're incorrect on this. He has spoken very carefully whenever he's talked, and has said, just keep in mind, this is coming based on what we know right now. So I love the guy. He's been incredible to us. And the community service that he did for us and for listeners and people all throughout the area should be commended. That guy should get an award. That's what I think.
I think I'm mostly in agreement. I don't think by any means he did this intentionally.
You're just bothered that I'm not talking about menthol. That's your thing. You're just not happy that menthol is not a part of this conversation.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I just got annoyed with something that I saw here. And I know Sam's on the line, and we got to get to her to talk about the Utica budget. But I'll just quickly squeeze this in since...
Yeah.
President Biden had a wide-ranging discussion, this was on Twitter, about the importance of mental health with some folks from the English soccer team. You'll see the video soon. And he invited some members of the cast of Ted Lasso and then members of the English soccer team to talk about mental health.
I don't know
the experts on this topic out to lunch yesterday? We're bringing in actors?
I don't know that they were. It was Biden. It was at the press briefing yesterday.
No, right here. They're in
He may have been, but the big thing that occurred yesterday was a reporter started yelling at what's her name, the press secretary,
Karine,
and it was with the Lasso people behind them. So I don't know what
his
that
Twitter,
had all about.
POTUS Twitter. I had a wide-ranging discussion about the importance of mental health with some folks from the English soccer team. You'll see video of it soon. I mean, were the doctors and the experts on the topic unavailable?
I don't know that. I don't know where that all came from, but somehow the cast of Ted Lasso was at the press briefing, and it involved mental health, and I don't know what it was about.
Yeah, no, they went to the White House to talk about it.
I'm not challenging that. What I'm saying is there was a reporter from some newspaper or network that was, I don't know what his paper was, but began yelling, and it got to the point, it got so bad in the press briefing room that other reporters were shouting him down and saying, decorum, how about a little decorum here? Oh. It turned into quite an event. That would be video worth watching. As for why we're going to Ted Lasso or soccer players from, when it comes to mental health, I have no clue, no idea. I'm just referencing an event that happened yesterday that was worth watching if you get a chance. I'll break, and we'll talk to Sam Testa. She voted no, and as a matter of fact, she's the only council member in Utica who voted no on the mayor's budget. What's up with that? Why did she vote no? And we'll speak with her coming right up. 8:20 at WIBX.
It's truck season at Steve Ponte Chevrolet. Find new roads with loads of inventory to choose from. Lease a 2023 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab LT, 4-wheel drive All-Star Edition, 39-month lease, 10,000 miles a year for just $498 a month. Or purchase a 2022 Silverado Crew Cab Custom 4-wheel drive Dark Essentials package. Get 2.9% financing for 72 months and receive $4,000 off. Steve Ponte Chevy, your lucky charm this March. Visit them on Route 28 in Herkimer or at StevePonteChevy.com. See why it's always easy to do business at Steve Ponte Chevrolet. Customer must qualify with top-tier credit with GM Financial. Lease offer stock number 23030. Must have current lease in household, 39-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile, penalty over 32,500 miles, $1,000 down, first payment, all taxes and fees due on delivery. Purchase offer, stock number 22471. Must own 2009 or newer Chevrolet in household. Must take delivery by March 31st, 2023.
The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is accepting new patients. The Falcon Clinic is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic, and they're accepting new patients right now. I am one of those new patients, as a matter of fact, treating my issues of, I don't know, you're up 4 or 5 times a night, night terrors. I mean, we could do a movie about the movie should be from my wife's perspective, to be honest. Anyway, they're working on me. We'll see what happens. If you're in need of a new family doctor, and you have issues, it could be sleep, fatigue, pain, ADHD issues. Maybe you've come to the conclusion that you can't figure out what's wrong, and you're looking for a second opinion. Dr. Shemileski, Dr. Zielinski, now taking on new patients. A friend of mine who owns a small business said she went from doctor to doctor to doctor, medicine to medicine, trying to take care of her pain, and it was her trip to see Dr. Shemileski that changed her life. She was about to close her business, but she said going to Shemileski and the Falcon Clinic is what allowed her to keep her business open. Maybe you're considering medical marijuana. Might be an option without the side effects of opioids. Call today. Visit them online. The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. Online, it's falconclinic.com or call 315-507-4600. 4751.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Mike this morning has the answer. The cast of Ted Lasso was at the White House press briefing yesterday to talk about the two big M's, mental health and menthol. That's what was, according to Mike.
But again,
He's
why?
right.
Why are they there?
Well, I would look into it before you question it. Find out why. I don't know why they're there, but I didn't read the story either. Here's Samantha Testa. I know why she's here, and it's all because she voted no. Sam, why no on the budget? Why did you vote on Utica's budget and a thumbs down on the budget?
Well, I mean, there was a number of concerns that I had throughout the budget discussions, ranging from the contracts not being settled within the city with the fire department. That leaves a huge red flag with a number of the unions inside the city in regards to health care. Looking at it, they could possibly look at the city budget at a deficit about $1.5 million, which obviously the administration isn't going to be there for the next year's budget.
Yeah.
And to leave that big, gigantic hole in the budget open is extremely concerning. And I think it's extremely concerning, especially for, not only the fire union, but the, police and CSA unions as well.
Okay.
So we lost her. Can we get her back?
Davey, can you grab her?
It sounds
I mean, don't grab her.
It sounds like what she's saying there, though, her prediction is, if you will, after all these years of a budget surplus, Palmieri's going to leave, and there's not going to be a surplus for that person coming in. His final budget, I think she said a deficit of $1.5 million. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah, that's about. I'm sorry, guys, I hung up. Yeah, that's about $1.5 million. Well, anywhere from 1.5 to 1.8. If they don't settle it, and unfortunately, during our budget process, the city had stated that they were taking, the fire department to court, to the highest division of court possible. That they would have to go. So God only knows how long they could take, but they only have until December 31st before all the healthcare contracts revert back to the old healthcare contract.
This is something else you mentioned too, that you voted for last year's budget. You voted in favor of it, but with the understanding that the union issues or the contract issues would be worked out.
Yeah, I mean, anybody on the council at that time, that was a concern that was brought up last year, and we were told that guess what, it's going to be settled. It's going to be settled, and then here we are next the following year with a decision from an arbitrator explaining that the city did not negotiate in good faith, and they were going to be left with the price to pay, and the city's taken that and is willing to fight that, which it's just mind blowing to me. So, I mean, on top of that, the there's the contract with the Stevens Fund Humane Society that has still not been settled. That left about another $250,000 deficit inside the city's budget if they do decide to, accept the contract with the Stevens Fund Humane Society, which is another nightmare because they care for about 1,000 animals, that we bring to them on a daily basis. There was definitely a number of concerns with this budget that I've had.
Can I ask you about the ARPA funding? I believe this is where. Can you give us a little background on the new Utica sign being proposed by the mayor?
I didn't think that was ARPA funding. I thought that was done with DRI money. I'm not exactly sure.
All right.
I hate to be the negative one to some of the things that he proposes, and I guess I have been. But I mean, just to put a Utica sign across the street from a Utica sign. I
do not understand it.
So explain this. I don't know this.
There's the giant Utica in front of the Odd right now.
The red one.
That is
what Ash did that, right? Or the county or the state?
I believe the combination of Rob and the county.
It's part of Nexus.
It's part of the Nexus sign, which I like. I mean, I think
cool.
It really is cool there. People are getting their picture taken in front of it.
You're going to have 1 million championship teams taking their picture. Yeah.
It is so large, though, you got to go to the other side of the street in order to get a full picture of it, unless you have a really wide lens. But I like it there. It looks cool. So now the mayor is proposing another giant Utica sign, and this one is red in different colors, right?
Yeah, it can change colors. I mean, it's all
LED
I guess
stuff.
it's like an LED sign.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing. Like when people are driving. I mean,
same 5-foot, 6-foot type letters that say Utica as you're coming north up Genesee Street against the old Boston store, and right there on that wall by the garage. Why another Utica sign?
So you could call it a kissing contest, if you will,
I think it's a contest of urinational might.
Yes, this is my Utica sign's bigger than your Utica sign.
That's exactly how I see it.
I mean,
go ahead, Sam.
it was. I mean, I wish it would have been like in the harbor, like along or something along those lines. I
Right,
thought
a
that
different
would have
audience.
Yeah.
So if you want to put that
different.
on the water, yeah, absolutely, I completely agree.
And actually on the actual tee, there's a little antenna type thing. What do they call that on the skyscrapers, so that you can say my building is taller than your building? What do they call that on the top?
I think it's an antenna. The point.
So we went through this a couple months ago. We were trying to figure that out, but it's almost as if you're right. I feel like there's a competition.
I would ask Paul Mayer to call him, but he doesn't listen to you guys in the morning when he's driving around. You know?
Yeah,
He does.
I know he doesn't. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, by the way.
All right. Well,
phone line's open.
Good morning. No, I mean, listen. There's like I said, there's a number of issues, even with the ARPA funding. I mean, you know, you talk about Valley View, you talk about, you know, a number of projects that are going on inside the city, and again, you know, you look at the infrastructure in and around the city. I mean, we can't even maintain the infrastructure that we have now. I mean, between the police department, fire department, DPW garage, and then we're just adding more of stuff that we won't be able to maintain. They couldn't even maintain the bushes that were put, you know, on the side next to it. You know, let alone be able to afford to, you know,
right.
keep a sign lit and keep that maintained. I mean, you know, even if you drive down, the only positive part is when you're stuck in the middle of 5S going to Genesee Street, because it goes to one lane and you're stuck at that light. You'll be in the middle of the road to be able to see the Utica sign.
You'll be able to see
well
it,
from
yes.
there.
I've oftentimes sat there on Genesee Street saying to myself, what city am I in right now? Well, now you'll know. You'll know exactly where you are. I just don't get
I mean, listen, I guess the theory, the concept in theory is quite cool. I mean, yes, a sign that lights up and changes colors, fine. But if it wasn't across the street from another sign that said Utica, I guess I wouldn't have an issue with it. I mean, but again, who's maintaining this? And who's, you know, long term. Look, I mean, you drive down the street, you're like, you know, sinking into a pothole when you come flying up.
And that's
even with the Utica sign.
That's the complaint that I've gotten from people who have reached out to us on this, is that, you know, I have a problem in my area. The business person has said, our area is terrible. We've got bricks falling off a building next door. This problem is going on. You got the fountain that doesn't work. You've got this, and now we're going to propose another sign. Why not fix up a little of the infrastructure that we have? And maybe that funding couldn't be used that way. I don't know.
Look, and after they put up the second Utica thing, I think that we need a third one, and the third one should be like in bright red letters. We could put like a Utica tower. We could just build some giant tower
and put Utica on top of it.
Yeah. What if we did that too?
Yeah.
I think we'll never put one across the street.
We'll never be able to pull that off.
And make it LED with the changes different colored lights.
Okay, thank you, Samantha.
Thank you, Sam.
Have a wonderful day.
Smitty's saying we already have one of those. We have a giant tower that says
I
Utica.
don't think so.
Is that right?
Isn't that the one over there in the marsh?
I don't think in the marsh.
We already have.
We need one across. We need one across the street.
We have a marsh around here. Okay. All right. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Dave.
Hi, Sam. Have a good day.
You are correct. Here's Joe on the Utica sign. Hello, Joe.
Yeah, I think we need a giant watering can downtown or something.
It's beginning to feel that way, isn't it? Like this is all. This is in watering can mode. We are all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden we have to have some kind of legacy to go out with, so we can talk about for the next 20 years. Well, at least the zoo is getting good use out of it, though.
They are. I mean, the zoo was able to turn that into something really special. So. All right, I don't know, Joe. This is craziness.
Why don't we talk about the congestion that we have, you know, and maybe throw in a few more driving circles to screw up everything else in the
Joe,
city.
I was just going to agree with you. The driving circles are a good thing. They're efficient. They're safe. Come on.
Yeah, they're efficient and safe. Look at the curb on the infrastructure. It's already been banged up by every snow plow and truck that's gone over it.
So what?
Can I just say, though, almost every other city in the world has a multitude of roundabouts.
Their drivers are smart enough to use roundabouts.
And we're a little bit behind the eight ball.
Those roundabouts. Look at Carrier Circle. Look at Massachusetts. They're huge. They're not these tiny little things you can barely get around in the middle of a city.
Look,
they really are. I was watching something yesterday. Is it in France? They have in the country of France. Now think about this. I'm pretty sure, I don't think I have this wrong. There are 6,000 roundabouts in the country of France. Now, France is not that large in terms of mass, but look that up, the number of roundabouts in France. I mean, they're European countries are way ahead of us on roundabouts. They are safer, Joe, and people can get through them. I'm just not sure that we're able to we're going to get there.
How about this?
There are 3 on the base right now.
What if we maybe at like Turning Stone or something, we put up a giant tower and green flashing lights and it said menthol sold here. What if we did that?
All right. Joe, have a wonderful day. Thank you, man.
All right, you too.
Okay. All right. Wow, are we all over here today? We are all over the place. I like it.
Sorry. I detoured a little.
A few comments and I'll break. Joe Malachi says, didn't the second season of Ted Lasso focus on the depression he was having due to the breakup of his marriage and missing his son? One of the new characters introduced was a therapist who met with the whole team, and Ted developed a close relationship with her. That is true. And I just, I don't know. I think Congress, our government, we like to bring in things like this because it's novel. It's the celebrities.
This qualifies as Biden is addressing the issue, and he's not.
I never saw Biden as a big Ted Lasso guy, but maybe he's a big fan. When they bring in baseball, don't you think they're in Congress? They have a committee. They bring in baseball, Major League Baseball, because they all want to talk to the players.
Right.
But I don't see it as I see it as a waste.
Those were people who either were affected by the problem or were causing the problem.
Here they're playing characters involved in mental illness. I just don't know that justifies bringing them in, but I didn't see the whole thing. All I know is there was a moment yesterday where there was a fight between the press secretary and this reporter, and it got really out of control.
John in Rome says Ted Lasso cast was there to bring awareness to mental health as the show delves into mental health. There were no medical experts. They were not there, he said. They were not there as medical experts. Jeff has to relax. Now, maybe that's true, but why don't you actually bring in medical experts and meet with them? The other thing is,
sure they've done that.
Steve in Rome says it's called a spire. A spire is
You're
what's on top of the building.
Right. Thank you, Steve. And as for the medical experts, I'm sure they have, but when you bring in celebrities, it gains attention, and then people like us are talking about it the next day. Probably the purpose for the whole thing. All right, I got a break. I do have to break, and we'll come right back. It's 8:36 at WIBX.
This is Harry G., the heat pump expert from Country Suburban. With New York State planning to eliminate fossil fuels, heat pumps are the wave of the future. Heat pumps can save you up to 30% or more on your heating and cooling bills. Right now, you can receive up to $20,000 in heat pump incentives. Call 315-735-5300 for a free estimate.
Offer good while funds are available.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try Babbel for free. That's Babbel.com.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. ramp.com/free.
Breaking news.
Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too.
The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited-time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Even if you haven't heard of refund shock, you might feel it. That's because refunds are smaller this year thanks to stimulus payments and pandemic-related tax credits expiring. Before you file, talk to an expert like Jackson Hewitt. Even with smaller refunds, Jackson Hewitt will get you your guaranteed biggest refund. And right now, tax prep is 50% off. So go to Jackson Hewitt today and save. 50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractors, we are pleased to partner with Syracuse University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Syracuse University's partnership with the IBEW will provide talented students the opportunity to advance their careers while shaping the future of the electrical trades and the industries they serve.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Hi, I'm Joe Carbone. Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Get a jump on your riding season with over 120 Harley-Davidson motorcycles to choose from. Harley-Davidson Motor Company 120th anniversary celebration is March 25th. Stop in for food, beverages, music, and lots of Harley-Davidson giveaways. Register to win a 2023 Breakout and a free trip to Milwaukee for the anniversary blowout. So come to Harley-Davidson of Utica March 25th for our great event.
Well, listen, the first day of spring finally arrived yesterday, and we're going to be feeling it for the next couple of days. Time to say goodbye to winter and hello to an updated home with new windows and doors from New York Sash. I had New York Sash at our house just the other day. The measurements, the final measurements for the final number of windows that are going into our home. I have the problem with the windows where when you unlock them, the top comes down. You got to put in a little dowel. I sawed off these little dowels to put them in to keep everything up. Pain in the neck. And it'll kill your cat, for God's sakes. So we're replacing them with New York Sash windows. Wouldn't it be nice to have brand new, easy to open windows, easy to clean? No more drafts, no more peeling, paint, or rot, frames that stick, windows that open with the slightest touch and are super easy to clean. Or maybe it's time to swap out that door. Entry doors, storm doors, sliding patio doors. New York Sash can match your home's exterior, keep your home energy efficient, and even keep your pets safe with custom doors made just for you. Now is the time. The New York Sash spring sale is going on this week, where you can get 20% off the new windows and doors that you need so desperately. So stop by the New York Sash showroom on Oriskany Boulevard or visit NewYorkSash.com for a free demonstration and a price quote from New York Sash.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, it's Tuesday morning, and there is an event that's coming up we wanted to plug away on before we wrap up this morning. Christina D'Amico is on the line right now. Christina, good morning. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for waiting. Talk about this heart fundraiser that's coming up.
Yeah, so we have an event coming up this Saturday, March 25th, at 8 a.m. that we're gonna raise some great money, and we're gonna work out, and 100% of the proceeds are going to the American Heart Association. So always for a great cause.
Nice. All right, how does it work? How do you raise the money?
Come on. Well, you don't have to work out. You can come in and just donate if you want to, but obviously we would love if people would participate because it's also great for your heart. So all you have to come in, 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. We are located at 2428 Shenango Road. We're OB training, and we have everything done for you. We'll show you how to work out. We'll explain everything. Suggested $10 donation at the door.
And this is certainly if you're a member, you bring a friend, but if you're not, you could show up anyway. But this is in like a group community style setting type of a workout?
Yeah. So the way we like to do it is we're huge on community and culture. So it's not like you're, I don't know, staring at a wall or have headphones in and doing your own thing. It's like a party, I guess you can say. We even have a DJ coming in. DJ TSAP is coming in. It's a great way to do it with friends, with family, just to raise some money for a great cause.
And that's this Saturday, 8 a.m.
Yep.
And you're on Shenango Road, which is that road that connects, I guess, the back end of New York Mills with New Hartford and South Utica over there.
Right. ComEd, Home Depot, Domino's. A lot of people know where Domino's is.
Yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, John in Boonville is a big fan of Domino's. He prefers their old style pizza.
Bridgewater.
Yes, Bridgewater. Sorry.
All right, Christina. Thank you and good luck. Raise a lot of money. Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you. By the way, I have pulled out of my pocket the grocery list my wife sent me with on Sunday to get groceries. And what is the fifth item right here?
Heidelberg bread. 2
cracked wheat Heidelberg bread. Davey, you saw it, right?
Yeah, because you tried to give it to me for a souvenir.
I said, here's a little souvenir for you. I was giving you the Utica Pioneers ticket.
Yes.
I was really cleaning out my pockets.
And you just, yeah.
Well, can I ask you a question, though, about that list?
In a second. The official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is from Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. That was also on the list. Get Daylight Donuts coffee. Seattle's best. And you know that pumpkin flavor that you can only get in the fall? Daylight Donuts offers it up all year long. Maybe you want a latte, and they have 14 flavors, including the amazing pistachio latte. If you like pistachio, you're going to try this. If you like Almond Joy, they have an Almond Joy latte that'll blow your mind. Breakfast sandwiches, fresh bagels, fresh donuts every day, and a drive-thru that is lightning fast. In and out, you're on your way. If you're looking for great coffee, it's Daylight Donuts in New Hartford.
Look, is your wife at work yet?
She is.
Okay, great. I didn't want to, I can say this then. Why would she send you to the store? You're on a carb diet. She's gotten you buying 2 loaves of bread? I mean,
Listen,
you send an alcoholic who's recovering to the store to get you a six-pack?
I made pasta, spaghetti and meatballs and meat sauce on Sunday.
And you didn't eat any?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. No,
your willpower is incredible.
Listen, when I was a kid and we were in wrestling and you'd come home and you were 4 pounds overweight and you couldn't eat, my mother hated that and would try to coerce us into eating, and she'd have a full meal. And it'd be me and my brother sitting there, and we couldn't eat any of it.
Wow.
So that's what you, so I try to, now, put a cocktail in me, I'm eating a horse, a carb horse. I'll eat.
Yeah.
That's what kills your diet, the minute you have an alcoholic beverage, and then you're blowing it. So
well, and it's not necessarily. Are you saying it's not necessarily the alcohol, but it's the fact that you, what is it?
You lower your inhibitions.
Yeah, and then you're like, I'll have a bag of potato chips.
Well, all of a sudden, your logic changes, and you're like, yeah, this is fine. I'll just have one bag, right?
That's like when we went out to lunch a couple weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago. Remember, he ordered a hot dog off the kids menu.
And
no bun. No bun.
Well, I used the bun to help me, and I didn't eat the bun. But I'm still not losing the weight because I'm still falling off the wagon every once in a while. I feel like I'm on a good run this week, though. A man in New York City is being praised for helping police officers take down. Listen, this is the final 7 minutes, 8 minutes. 315-736-0186. 315-736-0186. Any of the topics that we've hit on, you want to hop onto. The one thing would be a really interesting topic if you wanted to pipe in, are things that used to be a certain way and are no longer. We've talked about Spano's bread, Spano Brothers bread.
Mm-hmm.
That hard crust was my favorite. It's not made the same way. It's different today than it was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Heidelberg, all of a sudden, tastes different. Their cracked wheat bread is not the same. Significantly different. Are there any other products that you know that you used to enjoy 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and now they still make it, but it's not the same? Davey?
I love Furlow's Italian bread in Rome.
Yeah,
It's
theirs
still
is
the
really
same.
good. Yeah. I think Bill, Magic Bill, would always deliver Furlow's bread.
I mean,
It's very good.
It can range because, like, for instance, if I asked Uncle Smitty and I said, "Hey, buddy, 15 years ago, if Jimmy Fallon was coming to town, was there a club that you'd take him to that was, a
Yeah,
good
remember
quality
when- yeah.
club?" But
Fat
that club
Cats
doesn't
Comedy Club, remember that?
Fat Cats
Yeah.
Comedy Club. I was
Yeah.
thinking of a different kind of club, but
you mean that club?
yeah, but it's just not the way it used to be, right, Smitty? Yeah, he's nodding in there. He knows what I'm
This
talking
weekend, by the way, at Fat Cats is Bob Golub, and I wanted to talk about this guy. He is a comedian. He's been around for years as a stand-up comic. Bob Golub will be in the studio Friday morning. He was just recently in a movie in 2021 called The Little Things. Look it up. It's with Denzel Washington. He played the bum who was instrumental in the movie. He played a big part in this movie. He was in Die Laughing in 2017. And in 1990, he was in Goodfellas. Yeah, he's been in several movies.
Hang on, I'm looking
He's
for him
also
now.
a stand-up comic. And he plays one of those roles where he'll go in and, he's not going to be the main character, but he's somebody you would recognize in the movie. And I think in The Little Things, he played a bum who played a significant role in the movie.
Like the Saturday Night Fever guy that we had.
Yes. Yeah. Bob Golub, along with Erwin Laurie, this weekend, Friday and Saturday at Fat Cats Comedy Club. John is in Bridgewater. Hello, John.
Hey, Bill. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
Hey, Jeff, that was a good one.
Which one?
You're going to send a recovering alcoholic to go buy your buddy's beer?
Right, with the carbs, right, and the bread.
Well, I don't think they care. I don't think they care. Just give me the beer, and the bread will come with it.
You got to have
Anyway,
willpower.
so-
You must have willpower, right?
Well, hey, that bread that you're talking about, can't they get that over at right across Route 12 there, the Bargain Grocery Outlet? They used to have a whole shelf of different kinds of bread that you're talking about. I don't know if cracked wheat's there, but
Well, no. What the point is they still make the cracked wheat. It's just not the same.
oh, that's okay. Well,
It's not
all
made
right,
the
well,
same. The recipe has changed, or the way they make it has changed. Something has happened where it has changed.
Oh,
And if you listen to me over the years, and John and you have,
Oh,
I've always been on a diet for 45 years. I swear to God.
How much weight have you gained?
Yeah, like almost my entire life. I have. How much have I gained since then? It's terrible. It's just awful, right? I mean, I graduated high school. I was 130 pounds.
Well, I mean that to some extent that happens to everybody.
I wrestled 119 in my senior year, 119 and 126 in my senior year, and today I am much higher than that.
119.
Yeah.
I wrestled from junior high all the way up, and I'm
Yeah.
only 8 pounds heavier than when my senior year of wrestling.
Well, good for you. That's pretty
Wow.
awesome. Not many people can
real
say
quick,
that.
I liked what the sheriff said this morning about going across party lines. If you know somebody that's doing an awesome job,
Yeah,
which
I think
Mr.
he's right.
Penny is,
Yeah.
and he's right on the money there, taking care of the people of Oneida County and the businesses and whatnot. So, hey, if the guy's doing the right job, whether he's a Democrat
Shouldn't
or
matter the party,
Republican,
right?
You do
Yeah.
it. And, that's
And in
not
the
what's
case
happening
of
in Washington
in the
anyway,
case
so.
in the case of Sheriff Mashel, he is his party. He's a Democrat, but ended up getting more conservative votes than anybody ever on the conservative line. And I think
Well,
the reason is
and
for that
he's
because
doing an awesome job.
they had Republicans had a chance to vote for him, and it was either vote Democrat or vote conservative, and they voted conservative. They didn't want to vote for him as a
Anyways,
Democrat.
I think he's doing an awesome job, and so is it Mr. Paceni. So,
Okay, thanks, John.
hey, you guys have a good day. Bye.
You do the same. Debbie says, "Have you haven't had real bread in ages? Walmart has extraordinary bites, one-carb bread that is not bad. I'll have to try that.
Well, but with all due respect, and maybe it's delicious, You know,
it won't be delicious.
There's a significant
Is
difference.
it tolerable? Can you tolerate it? That's what it is.
There's a significant difference, though, when one of the things that you liked about Heidelberg, and that it is absolutely fresh, and it is not loaded with preservatives, so it doesn't last as long. Whatever you're getting from Walmart off the shelf in a bag is loaded with preservatives.
Yeah,
it's not fresh.
And you know, I didn't look at the Heidelberg as being healthy. It was delicious,
right, and fresh. That helped, right? You wouldn't want to,
yeah. But at the same time, you know, it's different now.
And again, just to be clear here, and I should have asked Christina because she's a certified nutritionist. I mean, carbs aren't bad for you. You need carbs. You're just, you know, I guess, and maybe in a situation where maybe
I'm trying to stay below 30 carbs a day for about 4 or 5 months, lose all the weight I want to lose, and then I'll maintain. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, yeah, you say maintain, but the reality is you gain it back with one sandwich.
I lost my weight initially, and you do gain it quickly. And like 11 years ago is when maybe 10 years ago, I lost the weight. And I was able to keep it off for about 10 years, but this last couple of years, I blew it. Joe says this morning, have you tried this? The 9-calorie noodle. It's skinny.com. I'll have to try that, too. I'll try anything. A few things before we leave here. I'm almost ready to go. How about this? I mentioned I was starting this and I moved along. A man in New York City being praised for helping police officers take down a man with a rifle and a handgun before anyone got hurt. Have you thought about this at all in your life? If I'm sitting on an airplane, I'll kind of close my eyes and be like, if there was a hijacker, I'd take him out. I know I would. I'd get up. Don't you want to think that you would? Now, you might get stabbed. You might get killed. But would you sit there or would you get up? You would have to get up, wouldn't you? You'd have to try to take him out.
I couldn't say for sure, but I think most people think, yes, I would get up and stop.
Well, I hope you're twice my size. You could take him down. I'm going to grab him by the legs. You take him up from top. I mean,
okay, if that's our plan, let's do it.
Let's do it. We're going to have to do it because this guy's not taking this plane down. In New York City, would you do this? A resident is being praised for taking down a man with a rifle and a handgun before anyone got hurt. Here are the people from the neighborhood talking about how brave this man was for stepping in and stopping this deviant suspect.
Most people would have got out of the way, so let's commend him for jumping in.
Yeah, he definitely deserves a reward.
We were scared, you know, if something happened here, it's going to be a big problem.
I'm glad I didn't come yesterday. I'm glad this person is gone.
An airman from Mississippi surprised his family by returning home without anyone knowing. You know, when these things happen. I played this earlier. This is what it sounded like when he came home. Listen. The man immediately turned around and went back into the service.
Yeah, that happens to some level. You know, and but that is a beautiful thing, though. I mean, obviously
really
his family loves him, and I'm sure he was delighted to be home for 5 to 10 minutes.
An Ohio contractor is getting praised for quickly building a wheelchair ramp for a man in need. This is our segment of good news, the good news segment. An Ohio contractor is getting praised for quickly building a wheelchair ramp for a man in need and for free. Here's the daughter and son-in-law of the recipient, Jamie and James Wyrick, along with the contractor, Jerry, talking about the donated ramp.
50 contractors, and 3 of them got back with me, and one of which was Jerry with JT Buildings.
There was no cost. It came to the point where it was minimal dollars, and it was a good gesture that I just felt I had to do for her.
One man helping another man in need, and we need a lot more of that in this world. It's a cold, cruel world, and there's a lot of negativity out there.
There you go.
Any chance this guy could come to Utica and fix the roofs at the Utica fire stations?
That would be nice.
He's available
do it
for that?
Free. That would be very nice.
I know they'll pay him. The city claims they'll pay him.
We're talking about roofing and talking about flooring. If you're in the position where you have to replace your flooring, you could go anywhere you want. You can go to the big box stores, or you can go to the place that has the largest inventory in all of Central New York, and the best prices and the best service and the most amazing craftsmen who will install your flooring. It's in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, the area's leading flooring store for Pergo Extreme by Mohawk. Only in Sarah's can offer the lowest price guarantee on Pergo Extreme. Now, this is a product that is incredibly authentic with deep textures. It stands the test of time, a superior wear layer and layered construction, 100% dent-proof, waterproof, kid-proof, and pet-proof. This is quality flooring, and you know at Inceras you're always getting the best price. We had hardwoods, authentic, beautiful hardwood floors installed in our home, installed by a craftsman who put them in piece by piece, and it's a beautiful floor. And we had just incredible service from Inceras. You want to go to the place that deals in flooring. Inceras Flooring Outlet, it's all they do. Get interest-free financing for 6 months. Go to their website and get a $50 off coupon. IncerasFlooringOutlet.com. Inceras Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road, Marcy. And as I said, online, it's IncerasFlooringOutlet.com. And that's it for us. Anything you want to add? Some warmer weather the next couple of days.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Stalling for another 7 seconds.
Well done.
Tomorrow will be close to 60 degrees, which is incredible. So enjoy it. It's going to get cold again, but enjoy it.
And happy birthday, Wayne.
Got to go. Back tomorrow morning.
Home and Hospital Medical Supply and the New Hartford Shopping Center proudly carries a wide selection of home medical equipment. Lift chairs to buy or rent, canes, crutches, walkers, powered scooters, braces, foot care products, and so much more. And if for some reason they don't carry the product you need, they'll custom order it at no extra charge. Mary and her experienced team are there to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or call them 315-724-6767 and online at HNHMedicalNY.com. Home and Hospital Medical Supplies, we make life easier.
Menthol is not just a flavor. It's a manipulative way for big tobacco to target, attract, and addict Black Americans. Tobacco companies aggressively market menthol products using elements of Black culture, putting more products on